Welcome to the Warriors and Wardens podcast, formerly the Origin Canine podcast. We are dedicated to sharing the lived experience of military and first responder communities from Australia and around the world. I'm your host, Tom Brown. Enjoy the show. Alrighty, g'day boys and girls. Tom Brown here, host of the Warriors and Wardens podcast, formerly Origin Canine podcast. And today we've got Jason Semple as our first guest. Welcome, mate.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
All good. And this is round two for us as well. We did one.
Yeah, we did.
Mate, that was at least
a little bit deeper. That one was it something around sort of men's mental health or something?
Yeah, we went pretty deep. We went down a couple of rabbit warrens.
Yeah.
But today we're going to focus on you, bro.
Oh, goodness.
So,
well, at least people will have something to put themselves to sleep with if they're struggling.
Late night potty listening.
Yeah.
And anyone that's listening who's been in this world, this military first responder world, knows who you are, man. Like, you've done, you've done zero limits. What other potties have you done, man? I mean, if you've done the zero limits, you've pretty much fucking done them all.
Yeah, exactly. I've done quite a few with him, actually, when you count the debriefs and everything. So, funnily enough, but we did miss a few chunks in that first potty, in terms of, I suppose, lived experience and, what I've been doing. In fact, we missed my entire sniper history as well, which was, we both laughed about at the end. But as you know, man, like with a lot of people with busy lives and, careers that sort of span a couple of decades, it's very, very, very hard, especially if you sort of zero in on certain topics. It's very, very hard to cover everything. It's like, and not saying that, my life is by any measure like some amazing story that needs to be made into a blockbuster, because clearly it's not. But, it's just the amount of time on the ground and, you just can't cover everything. So it's a good opportunity to sort of catch up with you, mate, and, share with your listeners, my story.
Yeah, man. No, I'm pumped, bro. I've been meaning to get you on for ages, man. I think even like way back when I first started this potty, when I was doing it with Soggy and stuff, because I think he was the first. Yeah, he would have been the first guest. I've been meaning to get you on, and then had a fucking couple of goes. But anyway, stoked to hear, man.
Far better looking than Sog.
Far better, man. I'll make the same joke that I always make, that I'm going to record over his episode with this one. Like those old like home videos, of like you record over your wedding with some fucking football game or something like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And noting, historically what occurred last time we had a potty. Like I don't know if you watched Sean Ryan, obviously, his podcast.
Legal in all 50 states.
Yeah. And he gives his guests a little gifty. Yep. In the premise that once again I'll walk away from this potty empty-handed. Just want to give you a T-shirt from my old sniper team that's put together. It's a bit of a covert T-shirt, so it's not just wandering around with a set of radicals going, if you run, you'll die tired and all that sort of rubbish. It's a bit more of a eclectic sort of design on the back. So
beautiful,
I know, but someone else looking at it just think you're walking around in a Tequila Sierra T-shirt.
Let's rip it out. Let's show it to the camera. Large. Oh, okay. If Ed on the
you can grow into it.
Yeah. I'll fall through the neck of this thing. What do we got here? Sierra Tequila. Ew. Imported.
Not covert anymore, I suppose. Well, you know what I mean. It's just not meant to be in your face.
Yeah. I know what you mean, mate. Yeah. Speaking of in your face, I've got my own little gift for you, mate.
Oh, so now you just make me eat my words.
Here you go, brother.
Cheers, mate.
I got you, mate. That's how it's supposed to be done, man.
Oh, yeah. Perfect. Challenge coins, always handy.
Yeah, man. And, mate, you can see it's got on the industry community tribe. I'll give them to people who have done something for the industry broadly, or canine, obviously very broadly for you. The community, the military first responder world, but also the tribe, bro, like my tribe, man. So my kind of people, the sort of like tight circle of people you got around you that, like, maybe you and I haven't spoken for a fucking couple of years, whatever, but the next time you catch up, it's like you never
exactly,
left.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think your tribe is supposed to be small, and I'm pretty happy with my tribe, man.
This will go I've got a collection much like you have there in my home office, so it'll go, where I can be seen all the time, mate, along with all my other connections over the years. So it's, pride of place, mate. Thank you. Oh. It's funny when it comes to challenge coins. Years ago, I was overseas with Emma, working in the Middle East, and it might have been a send-off for one of the lads going back to the US. Anyway, I knew that my business partner, who's ex-Green Beret, never carried his challenge coin with him. So I was talking to a couple other ex-Green Berets that are working in my contract as well. I said, oh, good. I'm going to sting Andy when we get to the bar tonight because I know he never carries his coin. So I waited for my shout. It was quite a large one. And then, threw the coin down and said, see what his reaction was. And then instantaneously, and it was a Green Beret coin because they'd given it to me. That's sort of what initiated me trying to be an arsehole. So I threw down, a legit Green Beret sort of challenge coin.
Yeah.
And it was met straight away with one. And I knew I'd been set up. I look around back in the, where the boys were sort of situated.
Yeah.
And, the guy that gave me the coin originally, he's waved at me. You dirty bastard. So I went back and I go, man, what happened to loyalty? And fucking, that was an awesome gag. And he goes, sorry, bro. Loyalty to the unit above all other loyalties. Except he's a very Christian-orientated trained killer, Johnny, but, he does a lot of church pastor work as well as training people how to be more efficient with their killing methodology. So quite an eclectic sort of balance, but just a tremendous dude.
Yeah.
Probably still my favourite group of dudes, actually.
Fuck yeah.
Green Beret guys.
That's good, man. No, that'd be good to add to the collection, man.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no, all good.
And especially for slapping me for passing on a Prezi, thinking I'd catch you out, and here we are.
It's funny because I was going to give it to you. I've been meaning to give it to you for fucking ages, and I was like, oh, well, the best way to do that's on the potty. But and I forgot to get it out. That's why I went and got it out when you got the shirt. But no, anyway, man, all good.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, but dude, let's. I want to hear about Jason Semple growing up, man, and I know a bit about your childhood, you and your brother and stuff. But hit us with it again, man. What was life like? And what generation did you grow up, man? It was 70s, 80s?
Yes, 70s and 80s. I was alive in the 70s and 80s. Yeah, so I'm a 72, lad.
Yep.
Born in 72. Thankfully, to be honest, if we look around at all the distractions that all the kids have got these days, I know that I would have gravitated to all of the things that are most damaging with the kids these days. I would have stared at it. I would have been just like my kids, staring at screens and not being able to get enough of Call of Duty or any of those things, even though, because I've come from that era of 70s and 80s, I couldn't think of anything worse to do.
Yeah.
So it's not something I'd be interested in doing even now, but yeah, very, very grateful. My childhood, and a lot of people can sort of look back on their childhood and reframe it. But for me, I'm just so grateful for it. I was probably oblivious to some things that, in adulthood, you look back and go, was my dad a really good dad? Probably not. But, he couldn't be that bad if, especially during my childhood years, if I still feel like my childhood was phenomenal. I had heaps of freedom, as opposed to even sort of the lack of freedoms I've imposed on my kids because you're always worried about them. And, there seems to be more risk around these days. Maybe it's just more awareness. But, yeah, man, I lived in Newcastle.
Yep. So
Novocastrian by birth. Greatest place to live still. So my brother's back there. We're both exceedingly happy that neither of us really did a great deal of law enforcement work there because, the more work you've put into an area, it's harder to reside there without sort of, you drive past there. I remember going to, XY job there, XY job here, or you might run into people. It's like where we grew up has been protected, by that methodology. In saying that, I did nearly shoot someone in Newcastle at a siege, many years ago, but, the interactions are all very sort of, restricted to the type of operations that the TOU were doing. So it's not like you're out there meeting and greeting and doing community-based policing. So
yeah,
very grateful. We lived in Valentine, and right on the bush. So we had the biggest playground you could ever have for kids, just natural bush, natural Australian bush, which if you punched all the way through the bush, it's probably about maybe 2.5 k's from my back door, and you hit the water, just pristine Lake Macquarie, and it's still just wild bushland. So you go down there fishing, spear fishing, any sort of stuff in the water. We're just rampant. My brother and myself, all our mates, as we were growing up. And in the bush itself, we were very proficient because as kids, you just go into the bush and start looking around, and it's knowledge by osmosis, and what you shouldn't do, especially around snakes and things like that. So yeah, to be honest, it was unwittingly a period in my life where I was having the best time of my life. But a lot of the things I learnt from just being a kid and hanging out in the bush and just doing stuff with my buddies, and even at probably as young as 12 and 13, myself and two of my mates used to go like hunting through the bush and look for marijuana crops. Yeah, yeah. When we were just young, dumb kids, right? So we'd find them, we'd just go tell other older kids that which were sort of trying to, maybe big note ourselves too. But so yeah, even when we were 12, 13, we're doing what I did, 15 years later, and looking, going out doing jobs on massive marijuana crops. So every time I used to go out and do one of those jobs, I used to laugh to myself. I was doing this when I was 12 years old. Yeah. What are you blokes? No.
Was that intel based when you were a kid? Was there local drug dealers, or you just?
No, we just knew the area so well. We basically just punched down, the main bush tracks, whether it was on our pushies or if we could get my next one over's trike to work, like I say, motorbikes and everything like that. And we just looked for little, where you could just see someone, there's a little, it might be the most minor track. So we just became experts at, I suppose, tracking, and just looking at, okay, someone's definitely gone down there. So we go, a lot of the time, people go down in the bush area for whatever reason. So, most of the time you come up with nothing. Or you might just come up to another area where some other kids have sort of set up a little bush shack. They're just doing what we do, going down there and building structures and having fun as kids, and rock fights and
rock fights.
Yeah, with other kids from other gangs, if you want to put them like, what I mean. It was harmless, and a few little injuries here and there with that type of behaviour. But mate, it was just it was the age-old thing where there's memes going around for people out of that era, where it was like just make sure you're home before the lights come on, your street lights, right? And I know everyone says it, but that was legit. It was like, make sure you're home before, if those street lights come home, you're not here, then you might be in for a bit of ass whooping. So yeah, it was just like, man, I would get anywhere as much as 20 k's away from home during the day.
Shit, yeah.
No phones, nothing, just on your pushy. But kids are resilient. Like if you snap something on your bike, we'd all work together, try and fix whoever's bike was having a malfunction. It was just good, man. It's like really good. I never really had any, there's just nothing of like spectacular or of note. I put myself in hospital about 500 times. I think to the point where you talk to my mum, the hospital sort of asked a few questions at some point, around whether I was being appropriately supervised.
Yeah.
So, and they're saying, and it didn't take long with that conversation to them just realise you're just a ADHD poster child, getting into everything and, just challenges and, so you could do the biggest jump and you could jump off whatever cliff, you know what I mean? So it was good, man. It's like you're cutting your teeth for later in life.
Yeah, it's robust, man, and I think that's like, I look back at my childhood a couple of different ways, I did have some traumatic shit when I was a kid and in the home and whatnot, but I did mostly the same sort of stuff, we're walking distance to the beach, you'd be hanging around on the cliffs, fishing, going swimming, going through the fucking groper hole or whatever, riding the bikes up at the park, throwing eggs at cars at night, all that type of shit, so... Yeah, it's funny, man. There's that sort of duality that you were kind of alluding to almost, Maybe not in your case, but yeah.
No, and when I say got up to shenanigans, like if you compare what we were doing then to now, like half the things you might have got in trouble off your parents for, if it was now in 2026, you'd almost be on the front page of a newspaper or something as like with terrorism charges because we're, like a lot of kids back in those days were making, pipe bombs, all sorts of shit. If we could get hold of something that exploded, we'd make something explode, So I remember at school, in high school, in the years 7 to 10, coming in and you'd trade stuff and, I remember trading, I got like about 5 shotgun shells and, some old shitty, 7.62 rounds or whatever. And we just literally had no idea what we were doing. Just pulling projectiles out, emptying the powder, and obviously putting that in our little pipe bomb back in the day. It's just like, none of that was even slightly shocking. I reckon my parents would go, "Are you serious? Don't do that again." But imagine now, in our current sort of climate. Some near misses too, doing that sort of shit. So I'm grateful I've got all my fingers and eyesight to a degree.
Yeah, but that's good, man, because I guess it might, like you said, you're cutting your teeth, you're getting yourself ready for adulthood, and it's obviously it's guided you to the career that you've had and to be the man that you are. So, and was it just you and your bro?
I've got a sister as well. So my brother's 3 years older and my sister's 3 years younger.
Yep. Okay.
Oh, the poor thing. She had some wild brothers, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And then once she got to an age where she was going out, the first couple of years, it was like, mate, we're all over that like a rash.
A brother 6 years older, 6 years older and 3 years older. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I feel sorry for dudes that were trying to show it. Anyone that showed interest in her in those days were like...
Well, you and your... Because you're obviously, if people aren't watching this on the screen, you're a big dude. How tall are you, man?
6'5".
6'5", yeah. So, and were you a big dude when you were a teenager, or was that sort of like later on that you grew up, or?
By the time I got to 16-ish, I'd hit 6'4", and sort of just a bit of a close, so I grew a little bit extra, another inch or so over the preceding years. But I grew about a foot over about a 15-month period, around that 15, 16, 17 mark.
Yeah.
I grew so quick, from being just average height at school, little terrorist that I was at school, by the way, as well. But, it grew so quick that, stretch marks that a lot of females sort of endure with, their massive expansing stomachs with when they're pregnant. They're quite significant. You've ever seen those on your wife yourself, mate? I had those on my hips, so big, like 1.5 centimetre wide, splits in the skin. So it's just like, you're growing. It's like, I'd lay in bed at night and my mum would just come in and go, I was in agony, man. It's like I was on a medieval rack getting stretched and my body was just growing faster than my skin could keep up.
Shit.
Bones and everything. And so it was a bit of that year was, I just went from being like the, average height in the class to by far the tallest person in any class. And, like even now, it's the rarity to come look up at someone when you're having a conversation. I actually don't really like it. But so I was a busy kid at school. If you look at the difference in schooling now, like back in those days, if I remember at one point I went to my primary school was Valentine Primary, and one of my teachers, Mrs. Schultz, would she'd often request me from another class to come in there and stand there while she was giving it to maybe a problematic kid. It was being a real issue. She goes, and basically threaten that kid if his behaviour continued, she'd sick me onto them. I'm not kidding. That's that's just the period of time. It's pretty funny when you think about it.
Mrs. Schultz. Now, are we talking like proper, like Mrs. Schultz?
Yeah. She's proper Mrs. Schultz. But yeah, I suppose I was just trying to use whatever avenues they could to control kids. It's pretty effective when you think about it. But,
fair enough.
Probably also a bit silly.
Yeah.
But
have you like always sort of hated bullies and people like that, or did you ever find yourself doing that sort of stuff when you were a kid inadvertently, just because maybe you were a big kid and you could?
No, it was before I was a little bit more dominating in physical sort of presence points of view. But I remember my pop. Who's a big man, he's a big, he was the president of probably the biggest union in Australia, got into Order of Australia medal for services to Australia. So, without sort of going off track, what he was doing in his union work, and the reason he got the OAM back in the day when there was no such thing as having smoko, no such thing as a meal room. So he was part of that group of gents that formulated that and brought it into structure in Australia. So you're talking him sitting with Bob Hawke and, whatever Prime Minister of the day, and pushing that sort of, those rights, workers' rights through. That being said, if he was alive now, it'd be sick to his soul because of, the way that unions have shifted focus. And, back in his day, it was very, very authentic, transparent. They truly, the whole reason unions were about was what they were doing back in those days. And obviously it's been hijacked for various things. Anyway, he's a big man. He was imposing, but very, very, very articulate. So he had the capacity to pick you up one-handed and dunk you, no problem. The average sized man who's a very big, powerful steel worker. And I just looked at him. My brother and I idolised him, but because he had this massive amount of strength, but this equal amounts of restraint and, thoughtfulness and mindfulness and critical thinking and that sort of stuff. So, he was my major role model. But, I remember him saying early days, getting back to your question, he was regaling some story at a sandpit when I was like 6 or 7 years old, and my sister was obviously 3 years younger. I might have been 9 or, around that 6 to 9 between the two of us. And, just some sort of incident in a sandpit when my brother was playing soccer. And I've just gone up to the older kids that were giving her a hard time and said, basically along the lines of, you keep this up, I'll pull your nose, whatever my pop used to say at the time. Yeah. And just gave it to him. And he's just laughing, going, man, your life is 100% going to be, down the road of, either military or policing or something in a service industry, because you've just got this natural, and obviously this articulation didn't occur when I was that age, right? Yeah. But you're just saying, I had no, not even the slightest bit of fear in going up to someone. It was, if you were doing something wrong to someone else and it was in my presence, I just couldn't help myself go up there and go, hey, pull your head in or I'll punch it in. You know what I mean? And that literally went through my whole schooling as well. So I got in a billion fights, lost heaps of them, because I was predominantly picking on people who were probably older than me, and they were bullies, so they were predisposed to sort of violence, whatever their retarded reasons were for being that type of people. But, So I think it's there's a certain level of sort of, it's who you are genetically, if that makes sense. So, you look around too, and you talk to all the guys, whether from your side of the house in, military special operations, or my side of the house in police special operations, or even, just, uniform policing. You don't need to be in one of the, the tactical units to have this sort of trait. But I think if you look at it and you apply a certain, a certain sort of, you look at any of those guys or those people, those females, they have to have a certain amount of trait in them. And I'm not talking for the people that go into certain service for ulterior motives. I'm talking about the people who truly, to the day they die, it's in their blood who they are. You know what I mean? In terms of, because I still do it now. In my, I live not too far from you, mate. And if shenanigans are happening in my street or anywhere in my purview, like I don't sit there and just, I'm not one of the people that, okay, well, it's not my job to intervene. It kind of is, because, we live in a community, whether it's 2026 community or a community 1,000 years ago, where everyone needed to come together and work as a community. That, in my opinion, that still should be the case today. So I can't rely on just the cops to do all my policing for me. They're not around. And in fact, at the moment, they literally are not around. So, you need to go step up and go, hey, if kids are riding their electric bikes through your local cafe, while they're doing service, doing whirlies, like happened not too long ago, let's pull them on and have a little conversation that hopefully is understood by all, read between those lines. And, people appreciate it. You walk back and go, fuck, was I just fucking lose my shit for no reason then? Yeah, but then people kept clap. I've been at a few places where they'll clap and go, And I look at it when they're clapping and go, the fuck's wrong with you people? Don't fucking clap me. Come and stand beside me.
Yeah.
Get involved.
But dude, like people like us, I think we take for granted who and what we are. You know what I mean? Because we've got this, partly the tall poppy syndrome in our communities because we're told to be
massive, man.
To be humble and all that sort of stuff. And I mean, personally, I'm not a humble guy. I don't think I'm very outspoken and opinionated, but I think we take for granted who and what we are, and we expect other people to have the same standards and attributes and value system that we do, but what they just don't, man.
Yeah.
And I think that's a hard thing when you get out of these sort of jobs. You know, you've been surrounded by TOU, even just beat, not just beat cops, but even the beat cops, or AFP, tactical guys, or contractors. You're surrounded by these people all the time. That's your paradigm, and then you step out of that, and you're like, hey, hang on a minute, fuck, this is so different from where I've come from. It can almost be like a bit jarring. You're like, fuck you, man.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I struggle now, because it's for that exact reason, because your value system is aligned with service, realistically I should have just been the sheriff of where I live, until you're too old, and you retire like some old crusty. Yeah. Because it's so much part of who you are as a fabric, and it's not like I can't let it go. It's just like that's where my value system is. Yeah. So you can pay me $1 million a year, which would be nice. No one does, by the way.
Please do. Yep.
Yeah. And that's always good because it gives you the capacity to give your kids a better life, and you can relax a little bit. But at the end of the day, that's not my value system. I would take a meaningful job that fucked up bad guys. That's still where your passion is. Unfortunately, I think some of the agencies I used to work for, I don't know if I really want to. You know what I mean? It's like those days are gone. It's a different sort of world now.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and it's not to fucking spin my wheels or anything like that, but I'm working on a couple of theories now about the differences between like organisational stress and organisational betrayal, and the third one, like societal betrayal. It's like when society deems us no longer necessary. The attributes and the worth that we have in those kind of places. When the wars are over and there's seemingly nothing to be, no enemy for us to be fucking thrust towards, you just discarded, and that itself is a hard thing to deal with. But and I think couple that with obviously being very service minded, but being, I think typically ADHD people have a massive sense of justice and injustice. Yeah. And at times it can be really black and white. So you probably fall into that category as well. You've got a very strong sense of what you think is important and what's justified to you. Yeah. And
to a degree, I would have to say I do feel a fair bit like discarded. So there's no, law enforcement's like far worse in this category than the military. The military, if you look around, I see posts all the time where they organise a lunch for guys from Korea, Vietnam, unit appreciation nights, all this sort of stuff. The military, and you can say otherwise because that's your area. I was never in the military, as you know, but it just seems like the military do a better job with their veteran community, as opposed, and even the tactical operations unit. They've recently, the last 2 years, have been trying to organise days where they pull ex-operators back in, from the very beginning of the unit's inception to now. And it sort of gives a bit of an overview on what they're doing, where their capabilities have moved to, and they show and tell if some guys haven't been around weapon systems for a number of years. Obviously, there's been some massive advancements there that they might not have seen. So there's a bit of a show and tell around equipment and everything. So that's good. It's good engagement, but it's not. It's just probably not enough, in terms of like how we. In any organisation, any unit's crazy not to really leverage off some of their older guys because those dudes are still watching everything, right? So they've still got the capacity to contribute, even if it's just by, hey, you guys been looking at this. Have you thought about that? They might be able to. Most of the time, they'll turn around and say, yeah, we're looking at X, Y, Z. You know what I mean? Especially if dudes are not connected in the system still, but there's still an opportunity there. You still got really, you got the dudes that actually started the unit, started certain projects that led to where they are, equipment and capability wise. So, it's like, I know, it's just like the cops the old saying, there's nothing more X than an X, is like, didn't get coined for no reason.
Yeah.
It's there for a reason. And I just wish I wish the culture in policing would change, to be honest, because it's very toxic. Everything's cynical, everything's this. It's like, poor me, poor this, and you go, fuck, man, just get on with it. Fucking, if something around you is not what it should be, fucking work towards change and acknowledge that it might take you a while and a bit of effort, and it might take you to sort of corral more people than yourself, so it's just not one opinion, and make change. But like, sitting around and this is fucked, the job's fucked, Basically, I used to say, anyone that would get around and say, you heard the saying TGF?
Oh, the job's fucked. It's a cop one, right?
Yeah, it's a cop one, yeah. So it's very much like, I never heard that come out of a mouth of someone who was a contributor. It's always come out of the mouth of a shitbird. And the minute it came out of their mouth, they just identified themselves as a shitbird.
Yeah.
Because like, the job's fucked. I said, oh, is it really? Well, why are you in it? And what have you done? What are you doing about it besides whinging? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway.
It's interesting, man. I probably had a similar mindset to that, as in like the job's fucked when I was in, and it took me getting out, doing the business and stuff, to probably make a few of those changes in my mindset.
Yeah.
And you just said 3 words there that I fucking literally is on the logo of the Warriors and Wardens. Like, you haven't seen it yet, but there's the C's on the shield. It stands for clarity, capacity, connection, contribution. You just fucking said 3 of them.
Yeah.
Like your capacity to do and be someone that you fucking want to be. And that's in the job or out of the job. Connection, you still stay connected to the people in that role, or the people connected to people like you, and contribute.
Yeah.
You can contribute back to the fucking place you used to work.
Yeah.
The whole point of this podcast, man, is like, it's a way for me, partly for me to connect to people like you and that we lose touch with a lot of people. But also it's a way to contribute because, man, there's so much experience out there that is lost and gets thrown away when people leave, and then they're fucking sitting there in their bitterness and whatnot. But and that's why I love like what Matty Morris does and any fucking podcast, mate. Like what's the other one? Damn it, I've forgotten the one. Behind the Badge podcast.
Oh yeah. That's a good one.
But you got to contribute again. You got to take that lived experience and fucking feed it back into those places, man. Official or unofficial, this is unofficial. So yeah, it's fucking awesome, man.
No, completely agree.
Yeah.
So circling back, good. I love my childhood. My childhood was full. My parents were probably doing this to counter my ADHD. But I rode surf boats, played AFL, mucked around with a bit of rugby league and union, soccer. Early days. Like a lot of kids, they do the soccer contact sport age. So your parents don't want you doing too much contact sport until you're like, you've got a bit of mongrel about you when you're 14 or so. But my parents sort of banned me from playing rugby league because I think they could just see what would be the outcome. I'm actually super grateful too, because the amount of dudes I know that played rugby league and that they had injuries which really became evident when they were trying to do selection courses and stuff like that. And it really did iron out a few guys who was fucking hard as nails, man, really fucking smart, epic dudes. They just had these little niggles from when they were playing, Winfield Cup in their mind when they were 16, 17, hitting those tackles at fucking 120%.
Shoulders, knees, elbows kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah, so I played AFL when it was deeply unpopular in Newcastle. So it was literally, you were looked upon as some sort of scourge, back in those days.
Some sort of aerial ping-pongist.
Oh, yeah. And the shorts and everything. So I probably triggered a few fights, actually. People were saying stuff. But, I was into all these sports. I did judo and a few martial arts stuff, but I had a program that I got put into, and my buddy and I, he went in the cops with me at the same time. Both of us got kicked out of that program same day for fighting with some dudes. They said, that's not the premise here. That's not what we're here for. We're teaching this, we're supposed to be...
discipline, control.
Discipline and control. And we go, well, we did have discipline control, but that dude over there needed a punch in the lip. So
yeah.
that was delivered. And then, busy. I was into surf boat. The surf boat rowing probably assisted later in life too, because it just gave like the training. I don't know how much you've had to do with the surf clubs and everything, because I did the ski paddling as well and beach sprinting, but the time I did in the boats, man, that is the hardest. Besides boxing, that is the hardest and most terrifying fucking sport you can do. Especially when I was doing it when I was like 15 through to 18.
Yeah.
So I was in the junior crew, but the junior crew would go out, like you'd go to a surf carnival, and the entire event water-wise is cancelled. So if you had an event like ski, run, swim, run, any of the water-based activities, cancelled, too dangerous, except for you guys. You go out in your boats. I'm not kidding. And you're looking at you, fuck, this would have to be cancelled.
Is that just because you had
fucking 10-foot waves, man?
Because your coach just wanted you to go out, or is that just the rule?
It was. I think it was ethos amongst. It's not like Surf Lifesaving Australia go, nah, continue on. You surf boat rowers, we're not going to put you out. It's too dangerous. I honestly think that the surf boat rowing collective would go, fuck off. We're not pussies. We're going out in that. That's our job. We'd have to.
End of the day, yeah, like on the day of the race, mate.
It's not your job now because you've got a fucking IRB with a motor on the back, dude. So we really do not need to go out in that swell because you wouldn't in real life. But, there was a lot of bravado amongst those dudes. But, man, you're just taught you to override your fear and take command. So you've got to sweep in that boat, telling it, giving directions. Even if you turn around to take a sneak peek on the way out because you're shitting bricks, man, that would get met with fucking same sort of shit you would have got or I would have got when you're doing selection course, like fucking shreds torn off you.
Yeah.
So early days, I'd learnt to have pretty severe direction and orders, if you want to put it that way. And I learnt to, actually, because of the ADHD and I was a fucking rampant fucking kid, it was actually good because it's like, that's what I needed. And I actually responded really well to it.
Yeah.
So, and that obviously later in life, you sort of saw the value, and I did, when you're doing debriefs, after a job or an operation, and it's as you know, the debrief's never about fucking attaboy patting each other on the back how fucking awesome we were. It's like zeroing in on any of the issues that occurred that didn't work, and you just can't afford to have an ego. It's like, and don't take it personally. If you're involved in some part of it that went fucked, it's in your interest to sort of rectify it as well. So. All these things sort of tie in. You don't realise how much.
Yeah.
And then the surf club stuff too, man. Like, fuck. From forget about the race day and 10-foot swells. The training we did in those boats was fucking ridiculous, man. It's like fucking arduous. You get people always say, man, how'd you get such big forearms? And it's from that,
Yeah.
I have to thank my sweep too because he imparted a
Sweep.
Yeah, the sweep's the guy that steers a boat.
Oh, yep.
So he's basically the captain of the boat. He famously said once, "You blokes are as weak as piss. You couldn't skim you couldn't peel the skin off cream custard." And it was like, man, that's such a visual, analogy.
It's live.
Bitch slap.
Yeah.
It was like, man, I'm stealing that one. I've used that one for about 35, 40 years since. Because there's just no way around it.
It's like that chopper one, you couldn't have the fluff knocked off a cappuccino.
Exactly.
So, obviously, you're lining up to be a certain kind of person from this pretty robust childhood you've had. Give me the skinny on getting to the cops, because I know you didn't go directly there. I think you went to uni first.
Yeah, I was doing engineering.
Yeah.
So, I was waiting to go on back when I was trying to get in the cops, there was actually, it's not like it is now where you could literally, walk up there with a peg leg and they'd hire you right now, right? Because they're just that short. They're pretty flush with numbers, FTE, so there was waiting lists. And you can imagine back in those days too, that waiting list would be exacerbated by who knew who, because obviously, there's probably a little bit more, someone would ring in, hey, make sure that Jace is on the next class, and then I might have been on the next class and got bumped, So it was quite a severe waiting period. And I put in an application for defence at the same time. I think it was either Duntroon or something like that. So I don't know how that would have worked out if I'd
Terribly
made it all the way through. But while I had those applications in, I was working for Philips in Newcastle. So it's a major manufacturing, hub, 600 employees plus sort of thing, but it's literally like Laverne and Shirley. Most of the generation wouldn't even know what that show is now, but it's like, it was just a major factory, where they were just making light bulbs, like every type of light bulb you can think of, fluorescent tube light bulbs, everything. It's a massive joint. And every light bulb that was getting used in Australia came out of our factory.
Fuck yeah.
So it's a big time operation. I was there just doing some sort of part-time sort of casual work just to get cash, once I finished my HSC, because I deferred uni. I got into business and administration, business law and administration. Can you believe that? Shit. So I said, yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
When I was at that Philips, they recognised that I'd done, you might find it hard to believe, but I got a very high HSC result.
I do not find that hard to believe, man.
I studied 2 weeks before. I literally failed everything for the two years leading up to it.
Yeah.
And then just read some books for 2 weeks, and not saying I'm a savant or I'm smart, just like...
I think you're an intellectually, enabled guy. That's pretty evident, in all our interactions, man.
Yeah, I just couldn't... the ADHD was always working against you because they didn't know... They really didn't... It was cookie cutter deluxe education system back then. If you were outside of that little cookie cutter shape, so I spent most of my high school, at least 50% of it anyway, sitting at a desk outside my classroom, so I wouldn't ruin someone else's education.
Fucking class, yeah.
But then I'd always come second or third in all the class tests and everything, so my teachers fucking hated me for that fact, I think, But I know, where were we going? There's the ADHD. What were we talking about there?
Getting to the copies. Copies.
Yeah. So I got a good HSC. They said to me, listen, we haven't had a mechanical engineer trainee here for a few years, and obviously, they had the engineering department, about 3 dudes, like a senior engineer and 2 other sort of, but all mechanical engineers. Fucking awesome dudes, man. And I was blessed because they were like, just had personality, not just brains, you know what I mean? Anyway, so they said, listen, we'd like to offer this to you, but we're a bit concerned that you'll either go into the military or the police, halfway through it. And which is really, would have been about a 99% chance. So they were on the money. So I basically said to the CEO, whoever the dude was at the time, if I take this traineeship on, I'll finish it. You have my word. And that was back in those days, it's just like a handshake, which means nothing. You're just a young dumbass. I left 2 weeks after I finished it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So they put notice in, and the military and the police sort of avenues were sort of coming to fruition at the same time. And I just hit my brother up and said, listen, I don't know what to do, because primarily I want to go in the military and just, break shit and just go crazy with those people like-minded.
Yeah.
But, he's sort of saying, yep, I get that. But at the moment, and he was correct, back in those days, there was a lot more out bush doing exercises than interacting in any conflicts or, so he said, the cops are, man, you just can't, you'll love it. It's got enough, it's got so much variety that your brain will just, you will be perfect, especially if the, type of guy you are. So I took his advice and joined. And with my idea was to get in. I didn't really know who the tactical operations unit was or that they'd existed. Obviously, when I joined, but even when I was at the academy, I ran into tactical operations guys who would sort of come up and ask questions. They used to say, "Fuck, look at here's a 6'5" dude, pretty big, training in the gym." They'd come up and ask a few questions. Say, "Hey, well, you should, once you've done it for a few years, come and see us and keep in contact." So they gave me their details.
Nice.
Fucking awesome dudes, man. So my plan was, once I'd met them and I realised that was an avenue, fuck yeah, that's the way to go. And then I had another buddy who'd come out of defence, So we were training together in the gym. He's in my class at academy. And then the other part of that plan was to go and do chocos, so do selection for commandos. You'd be your...
One commando,
One
yeah.
commando, yeah. And there was a few guys in the TOU. Once I got there, there's probably 5 dudes, maybe 5 or 6 dudes that were current one commando.
Yeah,
and did heaps of deployments. Yeah, really good dudes, really proficient. So I was looking at them going, fuck yeah, they clearly are bringing a certain level that's, it's very identifiable in the tactical operations unit. You can imagine. It's like just another layer of training and exposure that they would have had, it just enhanced them, in my opinion. Not all of them. One of them was an absolute shitbird. But, can't
What's
win
his
them all.
name?
I'd love to. You know what? Anyone from the TOUs listening knows exactly who I'm talking about.
Oh, right, yeah.
Anyway, old tuck shop. So yeah, and then when I got stabbed, obviously that derailed some of those plans.
Temporarily.
Yeah, just temporarily. Well, I think it more derailed the commandos because I was supposed to, Ben, really shout out to Ben, we were going to be doing some selection, like it was part of the program. I think you put your application in and then it starts like here's all your training protocols and then it will be on this date. So getting stabbed sort of fucked that up, obviously. And, it sort of took me 6 months. Within 6 months of getting stabbed, I was back well and truly at work, doing, what I was supposed to be doing in uniform policing. But at that time, I'd already started sort of scoping out what I needed to do to get into the tactical operations unit. I'd seen him turn up to a few jobs that I was at.
Yeah.
As normal cops, and fuck yeah, look at those dudes. That's the way to go.
Yeah.
So that's where I just put all my effort, And then the plan was once I got in there, then I would revisit the choco side of things. But mate, at the end of the day, it's my only thing. I wish I had 2 Jason Semples, like everyone. The wishes they could have done something else at the same time. But at the end of the day, there's only a certain amount of hours in any day and days in a year. So I don't look back and go, fuck, spewing. Because I know, and this is the lesson for anyone listening, is like the only time you could ever have regret is if you didn't fulfill the gap, say you wanted to do something. If you left it wide open, didn't go and achieve something else, or you didn't have a red hot crack, then you'll always have something to look back on and go, fuck, should have done that. Just fuck, didn't back myself or blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, for me, I'm quite comfy because I can always revert back to the fact every minute of every day was accounted for, just trying to get better in that role. And then obviously I've sort of, after, whatever amount of years in the tactical operations unit, went off and did a bit of private stuff and then back into the Fed. So a lot of the itch was scratched. It's still though, like for me personally, it is one of my missing link things because, that wasn't my plan, to do military service. I just fucking love the thought of serving my nation. But I feel like, especially through my stuff with the Feds, that I was able to achieve a fair chunk of that in a different way.
Yeah. So it's not like you don't feel accomplished.
Yeah.
You just would have liked to have another little notch on the belt kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I wish it was fucking 36 hours in a day, if that would be better. Then we maybe able to achieve it, but...
Yeah, I'm going through the same thing right now with kids, mate. I've got 2 kids, I've just had to cut away some stuff in business, had to put more effort into some things, and fuck, man, like life's just sacrifice, if you're doing something, you're not doing something else.
Mm.
Yeah.
And that's right. I didn't even mention that side of things. You still got to have your, your normal social self. You've got to be a husband, you've got to be a dad, mates who, your buddies that you've had for years, so yeah, I think I'm happy.
Yeah.
I don't look back with regret, put it that way.
No, it's good, man.
Yeah.
I think I've spoken to a lot of people that do, man. I used to have a lot of regrets around my career and stuff, and I worked through that sort of stuff, and I'm pretty happy with it now. But mate, I want to dial it back a bit. So let's obviously police college down Goulburn.
Yep.
Quite heavy on the theory learning with the law and whatnot, and then you're doing all your maybe some driving stuff, apprehension stuff, how to apply your law, those sort of practical things as well. and then you get out and you're on the beat. Now, I know you've told this story a million times, and maybe you want to tell it again, maybe you don't, but...
no, I'm comfy.
Yeah. So give us the rundown on... I just want to know what's the average kind of life, daily, weekly occurrence for someone on the beat, and then if you could bake in the story about when you got stabbed, and because I think I know you lost your senior constable. Yeah,
Pete Forsyth. I mean... The stabbing occurred 2 weeks after I got out of the academy, so it pretty much, occurred, if you could almost say day one, It's like literally I'd probably done about maybe 5 shifts max in the cops, and then shivved, So it sort of definitely rammed home that it's a serious occupation and shit can go south when you least expect it. So for me, it was more a case of, a lot of people go, oh man, I can't believe you went back after that. It was like, man, I couldn't imagine not going back after that. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like you said, your DNA is a certain kind of way, you know what I mean? Like you're not the kind of guy that would run away from that shit anyway.
No, and it's not something that I don't think anyone's prepared for an event like that, especially for me, the gravity of it was never lost on me. It's like, I'm watching my blood. When you lose enough blood where you can watch it stream down a pathway, and I'm concentrating on it at one point when I was trying to just remain calm. Not a good thing to concentrate on when you're remaining calm, right? And I just look over it and I could see it sort of just tipping over into the gutter. It's like, fuck, that's my blood going down the fucking gutter. I'm dead. Absolutely dead as a doornail.
Yeah.
The sheer gravity of when like you've been around people that have been mortally wounded, and, fucking, man, some of the trauma that you guys in SF and, in the regular ranks in the military as well that have endured, with all the roadside bombs and, all of that, I know I'm talking to someone that like completely understands, but it's not like the movies where you're laying there going, make sure you tell me, blah, blah. You go, no, you actually act like a prick because it's just like you're so like every aspect of your body is working for a solution to stay alive. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, a lot of people say, and I've said this in a few podcasts before, so it's nothing new, but it's like, if someone says, oh, my life flashed before my eyes, you know what I mean? 100% it does, but I think the mechanism behind that is your brain, if you're laying there on the road, right, the only thing you start thinking, what the fuck can I do to stop myself from dying here, if anything? So obviously I'm holding 2 stab wounds. Actually, I wasn't really holding my chest. I was just mainly holding the one that was spurting out of my guts.
Yeah.
I was thinking, fuck, what am I going to do here? Like the gravity of it is just it's like you pick it up at the forklift, the feelings that are associated with it.
Yeah.
So for me, I was actually quite rude I wouldn't say rude, I was just forceful with people. I'd demand an answer to a question. Am I going to die? Oh yeah, you'll be fine. And I'll be go, fuck off. Don't, that's what you would say to anyone. And, but or looking back, it was always going to be a sort of cyclical question because they're never going to tell you. Yeah, oh yeah, mate, you're going to die. Because then you will die. You know what I mean? So, you're going to be fine. I was like, I just wish I'd been unconscious, to be honest, at that point. I mean, when I look back, there's a lot of learnings from what I endured, being fully conscious right up until the moment I was laying on an operating theatre. Yeah. And even then, I dropped a clanger with the chief surgeon of that type of surgery in New South Wales. Said, if you don't fuck this up, I'll buy everyone a beer. And then he said to me later, he goes, man, I've heard a few fucking funny things on the operating table. That one took the cake. You don't fuck this up, I'll buy everyone a beer.
Yeah.
Anyway, I didn't fuck it up. I think when I was lying on the table, my brain went back to current affair I'd watched a couple of days earlier of something. They left a utensil in someone's body.
Oh, yeah,
don't you fuck this up.
Don't leave your fucking sunnies in my stomach or something.
Yeah. So it was like, man, it's definitely shaped aspects of my resilience and my ability. You've just forced into sort of a a lot deeper critical thought around that type of trauma. Very early days, so early in the trauma, treatment of people that PTSD wasn't even a term. I think it was called it's called like a critical stress something, and I remember fighting that determination vehemently.
Yeah.
My psych that the New South Wales Police sent me to, he's a fucking good dude. And actually, because of the stabbing and because of the tools that I got off Murray Wright, my psychiatrist, who's a champion, I probably wouldn't have got through some of the things later. You know what I mean? So not only did they sort of give me some, measures for what I was unknowingly going through at that time. I just didn't detect it, and I was like going, nah, fuck off, I'm good as gold. But I was not. I was like fucking, substantially affected by it, just drinking and doing this stupid dickhead. And not being a stupid dickhead, just drinking. And I didn't realise how much I was using alcohol as a massive crutch. And I had an incident which sort of brought that to a bit of primacy, back to the shrink. And, so it was a learning process, and I'm just grateful that I got through it.
Because you got forced, like you said, forced to look inwards and pay attention to that sort of stuff in the most radical way.
Yeah.
Can you just go, I'm just going to adjust my headphones. Can you just take me through like the actual stabbing event? Because I think it was, you guys were at a function or something. Weren't you?
Yeah, we were after work. So we dropped Peter off he's a detective at the time. Nick and I picked him up because he was doing a shift. He was actually doing a shift where we dropped him off at prisoner transport section, and then he was doing flights. So he was either, I can't remember if he was transporting a juvenile prisoner, maybe either to could be Orange or somewhere in Australia, or maybe they were already in Orange and then he was transporting them back. But either way, he was doing a transport of some nature with a prisoner. Which was on a sort of shitty Cessna or something. They don't use, they weren't using like commercial flights, as you'd imagine, because they're in custody. So we dropped him off as a favour because obviously it was a work shift, and he was like, "Oh man, so good to have another big unit, in the cops at Glebe," and it was like, just really instant. It was an instant connection for me with him. It was just like one of those dudes, and he was very interested in everything about you, and it's how to win friends and influence people. He was running all of the traits that you would need to do that successfully. He's a really good dude.
Yeah.
So anyway, he said he'd be back, later in the afternoon. We weren't able to pick him up because we were tied up with other jobs. I think I was doing like a 9 a.m. to a 9 p.m. shift. And he said, "Cool, when you finish, come and meet me at my joint, and we'll just go and have a couple of beers." So that set the scene for the evening. Got back there at 9 o'clock, still wearing my police uniform, so just wearing a T-shirt over it. And then probably the first time in my life, actually, I drank light beer. So I was trying to put on because I knew I had to drive back home. Which, having a few beers in those days and driving home wasn't a real barrier.
Yeah, hence the light bear, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
So I was putting on a facade of being a sensible human. So I only had 2 or 3 light beers, technically well and truly able to drive. And then obviously we're at a pub which is like maybe 400 metres from Pete's house. He was living in a city, Ultimo, literally right on the edge of the CBD, inner city living.
And wife, kids, anything like that?
Yeah, Jackie, married to Jackie at the time. Mitch and Brodie is 2. So Mitch was about 3, maybe 3 years old, about 3.5, and Brodie was 18 months old. I still keep in contact with both the kids and Jackie and the family to this day. I've checked in on his kids all the time, assisted them when needed. It's a funny story. It's not a funny story. It's eclectic, I suppose. Brodie, the 18-month-old, was giving me stink eye the first time I met her. She's like, "Oh, you taking my dad away?" Like cute little. You've got cute little daughters yourself now, man. It's they scrunch their nose like, "Oh, get away from me," But I'll never forget that's the first time I met her. But she's now just an incredibly intelligent, beautiful young woman who's well and truly into a career in the Department of Public Prosecutions. So she's a lawyer,
Oh, wow.
solicitor, and works for the DPP for New South Wales.
It's in the blood, bro.
Yeah, processing and prosecuting criminals. It's fucking outrageous, man. That's something to celebrate. Mitch is got his own business that he started up as a electrician, and my young bloke's doing the same thing. So, but beautiful kids. I've always had more concern about Mitchell over the years. Not that. Like you know what it's like having daughters. There's a mad connection between dads and daughters, right?
Crazy, man.
But boys need their dad, mate.
Yeah,
They really do need their dad. Obviously as much as their mum, but you can't really have one and not the other. It's like Jackie's remarried, and she married a current police officer still, and he's a good fella. So
yeah, nice, man.
the kids have had a really good male role model there, but yeah, man, it just kills me to look at the kids and what they're succeeding in life, and you just go, oh man, your dad would be so proud. And I've been up to his gravestone and fixed it up a few times because obviously the agencies couldn't give two whats about gravestones, so it's like get up there and make sure that's pristine all the time. When I redo it, I'll always send photos back, and so they know someone's up there. Or I'll leave a couple of 4X beers on his gravesite and have a couple myself.
Yeah, made me tear up, bro. Fuck.
Yeah. So Anyway, where were we? So walking back from the pub
Picked
that
him
night.
up. Yeah, tomorrow.
So we had a few beers. Just like I said, it was my connection because obviously my other mate that was with us, I've been working with him hand in like every day. He's my field training officer, but he's also turned into one of my best mates of all time, still to this day. Brian Neville, and Pete and I hit it off so much we just spent the whole night putting shit on Nifty, while we're playing pool and everything. And then we had to work the next day, so we sort of, okay, let's peel away at about 11 o'clock. Pete talked us into going just one more beer at a pub, which is even closer to his house, right? So, and then as we got to the corner, which across to go to that pub, some young bloke, 15 or 16 has hit us up and said, oh, you want to buy some eckies, drugs? And I'm looking at him going, you must be the fucking simplest fucking moron in the fucking history to not, because, the crooks are as good at identifying cops, no matter what you're wearing, as what we are at identifying them, usually via just the eyes connect and everyone knows who they are in the game. But seemingly overlooked blue putrid slacks that we used to wear in the cops then, polished fucking, Baxters.
Yeah, 3 fit dudes, little short haircuts, clean shaven.
I was wearing a police shirt, but I had my just a t-shirt over it, Anyway, I just left that to Pete and Neville, Nifty, because it was like, I'm a fucking 2-week fucking probie, shut the fuck up and listen and watch, Anyway, not that I didn't know how to act in those scenarios. I've been around it my whole life in Newcastle, especially around drugs and everything. None of that shit was new to me, and the type of people involved in it, I punched on with millions of times back in Newcastle over the years. So I actually really had to just contain how I would normally deal with that, which would be fuck off, buss. Yeah. And it's dealt with right there and then, and then you just move on. See you later, fuckhead. Now I'm in the cops. Like we have to do this a totally different way. I'll have to live with that too, because if I'd actually just been fucking my aggressive self, it might have been a different outcome. But it also could have been a worse outcome, and one which, we would lose the capacity to be the decent, innocent party in an interaction. So anyway, turns out that kid was just doing the basically the squawking. So he was just like he would identify who was interested, but then there was a buffer between. So if you grabbed him, he's got nothing on him. So he's indicated to someone else that's over on another street corner who's come over. It turns out it was like his cousin or his brother, who was 18 at the time. Decent sized lad, and then so he progressed to sort of present what he was selling as ecstasy, which turned out to be Panadol. So fucking people are dead for fucking Panadol. Are you serious? Anyway, at that point, obviously the Nifty and Pete have kicked in the gear, put him in there's an alcove, like there's emergency exits on the edge of this building. So it's 2 doors wide, emergency exits, and about maybe a metre deep, maybe half a metre deep, skirting around the building. So he's contained. It's like a tiniest little alcove, but you can't. So we had him sort of positioned in there, on the lip of the door for the emergency exit. He was just we had him sitting there, and literally, I'm just watching interaction, because every arrest at that point, and really every arrest, even if you've been in the cops for 15 years, you should be learning something. Maybe it's only a tiny little nuance on how to do an arrest better later, or a way to even the type of questioning you should be sort of delivering to certain types of people for certain types of crime. The learning's always going on, but you can imagine then I was like a fucking full jube. You just fucking... Anyway, he was on his haunches, sort of sitting down, like on his haunches, on his, sitting on that lip, and taking too long to get his ID out. So he was supposed to be getting his ID out of, he had one of those bum bags on, back in the day. They were pretty popular. And he's sort of searching around in that. And then I think it got to a point where Pete's like, fuck, you're taking too long. What are you doing? Sniffed something's not 100%. Anyway, what he was doing at that point was actually folding out the buck knife that he had secreted in his bum bag. Anyway, so he stood up. I noticed there was a difference in his demeanour straight away. It was like he'd gone from being meek to sort of, there was a shift. It was like you could see it in his face, in his eyes, and he basically, a few seconds after I'm looking at him going, no, there's a definite shift. He's going to, have a crack, without doubt. You know what I mean? Anyway, he goes, fuck you, I'm out of here. And then went to step off. And at that point, you imagine in that alcove, he's in the facing us with his back to the door. Then you've got, I'm on the left, Pete's in the middle, and Brian's on the right as we're looking at him. Anyway, I was reasonably close. So as he went to step away, I pushed forward and just basically pushed him from around the top of his chest to his neck. I didn't squeeze his neck. You give a nice, shud. If you need to, you can go straight up to the larynx. But pushing back is like, I don't think so, cunt. You're not going anywhere. At that time, I felt a couple of blows, like punches to my body. And I actually imagine in my mind, even, that interaction was going on. For me, it was like, yes, fucking have you go and, FAFO is about to occur here. So I was like, fuck, is that the best punch? It's like, fuck, dude. I was literally hardly even feeling them. I could feel that there was impacts, but it was like... And then from Brian's vantage point, he could see what was happening. So he's like going, knife, knife, knife. And then it was like, probably my body knew internally what was going on, but my brain hadn't caught up to it at all at that stage. As soon as he said knife, it's like, fuck. And then those 2 little pissy little punches, they're not so pissy anymore. It's like, fuck. So this is all happening. It's funny, this is all happening over a couple of seconds, but for me it feels like it was far longer, as you'd imagine. But because in that period, Nifty sort of pushed myself and Peter Forsyth out of the way a little bit, away from him, because I think he could tell that we hadn't detected that he had a knife, right? And at that point, both of us had been stabbed, twice. So I'd been stabbed twice. One hit my rib cage directly above my heart, and basically the knife went into my rib. So my rib did its job, as a, the reason you got ribs, protecting your body. So the blade stuck in my rib, chipped that, and then obviously I got full penetration on my guts, and the knife went through my stomach, an artery that feeds my stomach, or fuels your stomach. straight through my liver and then perforated the bowel. So it went through a fair bit of important shit. The thing that was the most damaging was the arterial bleed at the same time as the liver bleed. Literally talking to a specialist later, it's like, it's not survivable, but you did. So, it's that's not always the best thing to say to someone either, because then you start sort of revisiting it. Well, fuck. You try to think, oh, well, I got injured and I survived. It's a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
But when other people like, Ben Pronk or, is it Ben? Which one's the doctor?
Oh, Dan Pronk.
Dan Pronk, yeah. I did an interview with Ben and Tim Curtis on there. I think it was one of the first cops to get on their SAS podcast, right?
Oh, the Resilience Shield?
Yeah,
yours?
early days.
Yeah.
And then they go, we go through your like we're doing, through your life thing, and we end up spending fucking 3 hours talking about that event because there's so much to unpack, right?
Yeah.
And then during that podcast, they parachuted in Dan, sorry, I'm getting the boys mixed up all the time, Dan, for some of his like in-depth medical knowledge. And so he sort of zoned in on the non-survivability of what had occurred. And, so he said it's quite remarkable to, and he sort of breaks down what you've got to do in terms of get that amount of blood back into someone. They lost just on 5 litres of blood.
Which is, how many litres can the body hold? It's like 7 or 8.
7 or something, yeah.
Yeah.
So he was like, not only it's incredible that Sam survived the incident, but it's surviving the actual medical procedure as well, because there's a lot of there's so much complication in terms of getting. You can't just go and go, our bloods are compatible. Bang, give me a transfusion or whatever. It's got to be matched up against electrolytes, all these other medical aspects. Otherwise, your body just goes, well, thanks for that, but I can see you later, you're gone anyway. So it's actually quite complex to put a large amount of blood. And I remember them doing an incision in my shoulder and just sticking a line straight into my aorta. And that's where the blood's going, boosh, So the blood return was, everything was like pretty traumatic when I was getting
100%.
Getting the first aid at the hospital, or the treatment at the hospital. When you break down sort of those things later, they sort of start revisiting it. Then you also revisit it once you have kids, because you realise, fuck, if I died, they wouldn't be here. So it just puts a lot more enormity on it at later stages in your life.
Oh, yeah.
And then, you can either, but there's 2 ways to go down. You can either sit there and suck your thumb over it, or you can sort of go, fuck, I really dodged a bullet, man. So lucky. Triple, 1,000 times more grateful to have my kids.
Yeah.
Because I realised I nearly ended their lives, at the same time as when, I was getting back to the incident. I was laying there on the street and I'm watching my blood, go down into the gutter. Pete's come over at one point. This all happens a lot quicker. For me, it feels like I could talk to you. It felt like half an hour. It's probably 48 seconds. Some of this timeline. So once we'd pulled away from, you're pushed away by Brian from the stab. They've now faced off. So Nifty's got no weapons, right? And he's just facing off within a metre or 2 of old mates. Just stabbed 2 dudes. And he's brandishing a knife, trying to sort of get an opportunity to stab Brian. And then Brian just gave him enough and he bolted, right?
Yeah.
So then Nifty chased him. So he's a fucking brave motherfucker,
Had he been stabbed at all?
No.
Okay.
But he's just seen that. The average person would fucking not to do what he did. And then so he's chasing him. He gets all the way down to the end of that street, and he could turn right, and it sort of goes to Broadway. I don't Sydney CBD very well, but Broadway in Sydney. But he turned around, he just glanced back and saw that we were both laying on the ground, and it was like, fuck. So fuck him. We'll get him later. There's about 6 billion fucking cameras between where that dude just ran. But as much as he wanted to go and grab him, we're the priority. So he comes back, Pete's dead, right? And, so in that period where Brian's down the end of the road, Pete and I walk out, they're running off down the road, right? Pete comes to me, I'm standing next to the gutter, and then I'm fucking, when I pulled my shirt up the first time and looked at it myself without it, and it's like it was just a fountain squirting out of my abdomen.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck. And, you know, and you just instantaneously, you're like, fuck, that's it. I'm
Shock,
fucking,
right?
Yeah, shock. You're just like, I am absolutely fucking dead as a doornail without fuck. Anyway, Pete's come in and he goes, holy fuck. And then, because you see all the blood everywhere at this point, he's been stabbed twice in the heart, to keep that in your mind at this point while he's talking to me. He's got so the knife with him went, unfortunate for him, didn't have the same luck with the ribs as what I did. Went into his heart, came out of his heart, but didn't come all the way out of his body, if that makes sense. And then pushed, so it's like a double movement in the same external entry point, but different knife pathways internally. But both incisions went into his heart, so it's pretty catastrophic. You get stabbed in the heart, you're dead.
Yeah.
Stabbed twice in the heart, you know, you ain't. It's a full stop on that sentence. You know? So anyway, he doesn't know he's been stabbed, and all he's doing is trying to fucking comfort me. He's yelled out to cross the road, and lights start turning on the, you know, people that do live on that William Henry Street, I think it's called. And then he's laid me down, so I was half in the gutter, half on the pathway, and he goes, let me have a look. So I've pulled the shirt, and then he's instantly put my hand back on. He goes, for fuck, don't take your fucking hand off again. You know, like, because obviously you're allowing a little bit more. I was bleeding anyway. I just would have filled my guts up and died. But still, that's, you know, put your hand on it, stop it as much as you can. And then within a short period, and then he was like, you're going to be okay, man. That's literally the last thing that came out of his mouth was telling me I was going to be okay. And then he just slumped onto so his head ended up on my lower chest. And I thought, fuck. You know, at that stage, I'm in deep shock myself. I'm just laying there going, fuck, how much, trying to quantify what I need to do to survive. And then I just thought he's fainted. Obviously, anyone with, is that audio crackling then?
No, I'm all good. Yeah, gotcha.
So his last words were, for me, you know what I mean? So there's a fair bit of gravity in that down the track. Anyway, the average person, when I look back, would you be thinking, oh, you must have got stabbed as well? Because my last visual of him before he died on top of me, there was no blood on him, nothing. You know, so there's nothing to sort of, he's not holding any wounds where I'm going, fuck, man, are you okay? He's asking, you know. So there was nothing to sort of trigger me to think that he was injured. And then next thing you know, he's just what I thought was passed out on top of me, fainted or something, you know. Fucked. It's pretty, you could rip it apart now, but that's what I thought at the time. Anyway, it was like, and I'm laying there with him on top of me, but I think I was just gone into such severe shock too. I was looking up at the sky, and then I was like, when I went, this is all happening pretty quick, because at that point, Nifty got back to us, and then when he looked at Pete, I think he, you know, your eyes, and he was out, done. And so Pete, Nifty ripped Pete off me and was doing, next thing you know, I could see him doing CPR. And our legs are tangled, so I could feel all this energy. And when it's compression, it was like, so little things like that stay with you forever. It's like a almost
tactile
like
sensation.
Yeah. It's like you're connected, you know, weirdly. Anyway, so even then I'm so fucked up. And then I've got other people trying to talk to me and trying to keep, you know, hey man, you're going to be okay. You know, just people on the bystanders on the street. You know, something like, I asked Pete, what's wrong with Pete? What's wrong with Pete? And it was like, I was getting ignored, you know, which is like, okay, there's something serious going on there. And then I just go back into my own world. And then when the ambulance turned up, they went, so there's 2 ambulance crews that just happened to catch up for a coffee that night, Friday night. Hadn't seen each other. I think one of the other crews had a few people who had deployed together, so they would sort of catch up for a brew. If they hadn't been having that brew, I'd be dead, because they were literally fucking 1 minute away around the corner. So they were there within about a minute, maybe even less. So it's, well, you know, a short period of time.
Yeah, because people are yelling and screaming. They've obviously gone, oh, fuck, well, that's...
Yeah. Well and truly a lot quicker than you'd expect, you know, for all out, depending on what, what's going on at the time. The thing, this is one of the guilt things I have to deal with, but or I had to deal with was like when they came, they started working on Pete, and I was thinking to myself, hey, I've been fucking stabbed. Like no one's fucking even like assisting me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, the other ambos turned up about 20 seconds later, and they straight to me. Next thing you know, I'm getting literally dragged along the concrete, or the bitumen, to it so they can get their own workspace going. And then it was all just crazy, man. It's too much information for me to fucking process at the time. You got the cops who turned up there, because obviously as soon as the police have got wind of it, bigger than Ben-Hur, you got everything. You got cameras, you got media there. I'm still trying to fucking you get loaded up into a bus to get taken to the ambulance. So it was, and I didn't overhear it, but I could see, the cops are coming over asking me some, really significant questions, get some information off him, because he's like a dying declaration, basically. Because they're saying, there's no way he's fucking surviving this. Have a fucking look at the path. There's no way. That was the boss of City Central at the time, so, And then obviously get to hospital and fucking somehow manage to survive it, mate. I suppose it's important to mention too, from a psychological point of view, at the time, you gravitate. Remember I was saying before about you're when someone has a critical incident where they think they're gonna, like, death is imminent, or or similar. It's like, my life flashed before my eyes, and it's not it 100% is a real thing. But I think the way I look at it, the life flash before your eyes is I'm trying to access my brain as a hard drive. So everything that's ever been put in my brain, and if you use the analogy of a hard drive, I'm now searching that hard drive with the search parameters. How do I survive this sort of thing? That's your life flashing before your eyes. It's circulating through every interaction you've ever had, that you can grab onto something that's going to be of use during that incident. And so for me, I gravitated to something I'd read the night before out of irony, which was a book written by former New South Wales Police undercover agent Mick Drury, and it was about when obviously he was working in the underworld, and there was these massive. He's one of the key characters in a TV series called Blue Murder. Roger Rogerson, all those dudes.
Yeah.
So he's the one he's the undercover, got shot in his kitchen, right, in front of his wife and kids. So I was reading his book, and I knew I just got to the chapter. This is the night before. I knew I just got to the chapter where he was going to talk about the actual moment he got shot and what, I'll save that for the next day. Because I was quite an avid reader in even my early days in the cops.
Yeah.
Anyway, fuck it, I'll read it. So, because I knew I had a 9 a.m. start, so it's not like I was getting up chronic early. So I read that chapter, and in that chapter, he's laying on his floor in his kitchen. He made sure his wife and kids are sort of secured in a bedroom. Then he was just laying on the floor in his kitchen, been shot like 2 or 3 times with a .357 through his kitchen window, maybe 1.5 metre range. So he's been hit with a fucking elephant fucking round out of a pistol. And he's laying there going, well, I've got no real first aid knowledge, got no first aid equipment. The only thing I can do is just fucking try and get into a zen, and just, because he knew that shock will kill you, as part of it. Even if shock would speed up your bleeding, because of the mechanism of shock. So he just fucking went into this, tried to put himself into a trance. Everything's going to be okay, and I'm just going to calm my heart rate and my blood pressure, everything, And I read that the night before. So that's what my brain circulated. And so I had something pretty fresh that I could grab hold of. And that's what I did as best I could, to the point where people would come up and sort of try to, hey man, how you going? And like someone do try to rub my forehead or something like that. And it was like, basically, I said I was a bit rude. I was like, hey, can you fuck off? trying to fucking concentrate.
Trying to not die,
And actually, we said it, but I'm trying to concentrate on not dying. Obviously didn't say that bit, but that's what I was just concentrating on fucking remain calm. And that continued once I got to the hospital, heaps of staff around. And what always said this to everyone I worked with ever from that date forward, be very careful what you say around people who you think are fucked. Or, they might even appear unconscious. But you got to talk like there's every hope in the world because they can hear you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it changed the way I dealt with all victims for, especially seriously injured people from that point forward. And I had a crack at a few people over the years going, hey, shut the fuck up. Someone turn up to a, fucked up pedestrian car accident, he got pumped, pissed, walked onto the M4 or whatever it is in Sydney and literally got like a baseball bat. So he did a 78-metre fucking airborne before he hit the ground for the first bit of the slide. So you can imagine. And then because he went so far forward of the truck's pulled up in that lane on the fast lane and cars are going, fuck you. And they're, typical Sydney traffic. They've come around on the inside and to get in that lane and then 3 cars ran over that dude. So he just got like a baseball bat, the bull bar of a fucking semi, 78 metres through the air before he hit the ground. And then boom, 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 3 separate cars, one after the other.
Fucking hell.
Anyway, so by the time I got to him, he's laying there and he actually had a skid mark where he's on his guts where his tackle used to be. So it ripped off his clothes. And there was a cavity where his, old fellow and, so it's like, man, I knew he was going to die, but let's do everything we can not to, And then one sergeant turned up there, oh, man, he's truly fucked. And I was like, dude, I agree, but let's not say it out loud,
Was the cunt still alive?
Yeah. But, man, like when we every time we try to put him in recovery position, the first time I did it, I put my hand on, you grab the leg and put the knee over. My hand went all the way into his leg and I got splinters off his femur. Because it would split, it's like with massive impact trauma. It just split his leg open like a overcooked sausage from Woolies, man. It's like all the way. Yeah. And I could see the bone. Like I said, I had fragments went through my glove. And who gives a fuck, just working on someone at that point. But, yes, man, like epic level, like fuck.
Yeah.
But, so I learnt very early days, be careful. Because I was listening to everything that was getting said in the emergency section. And I did hear someone said, well, make sure you get X, Y, Z on some blood thing that they were doing. And I heard this dude say, well, what's the point? Like, as if, it was like, it's clearly not going to fucking survive, And I heard it.
Yeah.
So but in there, the only thing I could do to sort of remain calm and not try to listen in on everyone, because I was looking at you, if you were just a nurse, I was looking at you, well, I want to see if I can detect that you think I'm going to die. Yeah. I'm not kidding. It's like, fuck. Someone, you just want to know.
Oh, you got to cling to something, man, I'm sure.
Yeah, you do. So I just concentrated on the monitoring equipment. And I could actually control my blood pressure to a degree. So I'd look at it and just go, right, keep calmer. And I'd watch it come down. If I looked away, looked back, it would elevate again. Oh, who the fuck knows, But in my mind, that's how I remember it. Just like, fuck, dude. Yeah, I can't. To this day, I can still remember the gravity of what it feels like to think you're going to fucking cark it. It's fucking unreal.
Man.
In all the wrong ways.
And there's so many elements to that, you know what I mean? Like if you guys were touching when he was starting his CPR and that's crazy stuff, man, eh? Yeah. Did you do a lot of deliberate therapy for that sort of stuff, like revisit it, or was it a bit of a slow burn when you didn't?
Nah, I went at it hard, you know. So I was in hospital for about 10 or 12 days or something. Lost about 12, maybe 13, 14 kilos because I wasn't able to eat for most of that period. I had to get to a certain milestone. I didn't know, but there was a little bit of infection too in you because he'd perforated the bowel. So they were worried about that without telling me. and then you had to get to a certain milestone before you're allowed to eat again, after having that sort of abdominal injury. So yeah, I mean, I probably should have stayed in hospital for a couple of weeks longer, but I wanted to get out and just recover at home. I didn't want to be in hospital. So, yeah, man, and then I was back operational 6 months later.
Fucking hell.
Within 6 months. It's probably earlier, probably 4 months later.
Yeah.
It's pretty... I imagine these days, be like, fuck. Might as well take a couple of years off hiatus. It's not part of your makeup, and to be honest with you, it's good it's not part of your makeup, because part of your recovery is just fucking going great guns. So I think the first time I even went to see the surgeon after, when I'm supposed to be recovering, about a month later, I'd seen him, a couple of times in the week after I got out of hospital, and then it was like these rigid sort of catch-ups to make sure everything was progressing. And then when I went in after 4 weeks, he goes, "Holy shit, do you always look like this? Like you just naturally look like a bodybuilder?" And I was like, no, I've been in the fucking gym. And he goes, "What? You're not supposed to be doing that." And I go, "Yeah." Basically I go there, and if something hurts, I stop doing it. And by the way, it's in your interest to try to give me some strategies here, because I ain't stopping.
Yeah.
So you don't try to control it. Don't try to stop it. Just try to control it as best you can, which you did. But
yeah.
So yeah, man, I was just like going to the gym. I was still healing. Like I had fucking, I got stitches out of my, because I had that full laparoscopy where they pull everything out. But man, it's like super fucking tender for a long time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so but I was in the gym doing as much as I could.
Yeah, fuck, man.
Pretty funny.
And what's obviously, mate, there's a billion things in there I could unpack, man, about like Pete and his family and your psychological stuff and treatment and your self-care routine and everything. But and I wish I could talk to you about that for fucking hours, man. But dude, hit me with getting back on the road and then living the GD life until, I mean, obviously with this in the back of your mind, living the GD life up until going to TOU.
Yeah. Man, best time ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, loved it. Loved it before I got stabbed. Loved it, as much or more afterwards. It's just the best, man. We used to do like a 6 a.m. till 6 p.m. So you do 2 of those, and then you do 2 nights, 6 p.m. till 6 a.m. So 2 days, 2 nights. And then you get 5 days off. What the fuck? We'd come up with that. I don't know, but it's fantastic. So, it's fucking awesome, dude. Part of me wishes we didn't have so much time, because you burn through all your cash pretty quick,
Yeah.
On the terps. But, I used to go, you do a shift, and I dread when it was coming to its conclusion, even after 12 hours of dealing with fucking who knows what. Just the hunting side of it. You got all the stuff you just get called to, and then you got, if there's nothing that you're getting called to actively, then you're out there doing proactive patrolling. It was the best, man. Just looking for all those little nuances that you just pick up over time. There's a certain amount. It's textbook with law enforcement. The rest is just the street knowledge. Really, you can only really obtain it via time on the street with people that know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, forever grateful for some of the really epically experienced dudes that sort of chose to stay in that type of policing for their whole careers, because you just got it. It was really good information. But it was awesome, man. You literally, the thing I liked most about it, I mean, you don't want to go to certain jobs. You don't want to go to jobs where there's there's trauma, like car accident, people lost loved ones, or they've lost kids in a drowning, or that sort of stuff you're not looking forward to. But the other stuff, just fucking up the bad guys and hunting down crooks is fucking awesome fun, to this day.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like I would literally stress when it was getting close to the end of your shift, because then you realise, fuck, I got to wait till tomorrow, go do this again. Obviously, that's something that's really when you're new, you know what I mean? But I still had that level of passion for fucking nearly my whole career.
Yeah.
Because then for me, it was like, just keep going. If you get stale somewhere, just go ramp it up, go to the next level in another area, and then now you're fish out of water again. Okay, now I'm comfy, ramp it up again, go to the, So I suppose I did that between, uniform and a little bit of time with the crime teams, plain clothes, sort of really just aggressive, proactive stuff, which is perfect. That's, you can sort of, to a large degree, keep yourself away from some of that fucking other real hardcore trauma.
Yeah.
Car accidents and things, and you're just into busting crooks, for drugs and whatever other activities. But it was like, and it was just the best. It's like you just go to work with like-minded people, capable people, back in those days anyway, and it was fucking unreal. It was just a battle between cops and robbers,
The goodies
literally
and the
out of the
baddies.
goodies and the baddies.
That's sick, man.
And there was a certain amount of, like, a lot of the crooks too. Oh, you got me, man. You know what I mean? It was like there was, like, it was a bit more of a
like a code of honour kind of thing.
Yeah. I even had like a pretty famous underworld dude, Abbo Henry, come up to me in a pub a couple of years after I got stabbed. And he goes, "Oh, I know you." I was like, "Yeah, I know who you are too." And he's like, "Listen, I'm on this side of the line, you're on that side of the line, and we both respect that, but I want to buy you a beer for being fucking, in his words, like, it's been a fucking one resilient motherfucker to have survived that. And also, I just want you to know that the crooks that I bounced around with in my career, we would not have fucking done that. And we would be aggressively trying to find who did it, because it's like, you just don't do that, because it obviously brings them. It's not because they give a fuck about you. It's like they know that it ruins.
It's not good for business. Yeah.
So okay. I had a beer with him, talked to him for 25 minutes, and probably got photographed to the eyeballs from police integrity unit or whoever had an eyeball on him. But anyone that knows me knows, like, fucking hell, man. I'm a Boy Scout to the bone. So yeah. Being a criminal is fucking the very last thing you have to worry about with me.
Yeah. Bro, have you seen that movie Heat?
Yeah.
Everyone loves that big the gunfight scene,
best.
right? My favourite scene in that movie is when what's his name? Fucking
Al Pacino.
Al Pacino and Robert De Niro sit down for a coffee in the diner at night, and they're scoping each other out. Yeah. It sounds like that kind of thing, you know what I mean? He's like, "Hey man, I'm ready to bounce 30 seconds flat, are you ready for it?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, fucking 3 divorces. I'm ready for it, man. Let's go," sort of thing, But there was it was big boy rules now, and then later on it was like job on. It sounds like that kind of thing, you know what I mean? It just reminds me of that.
Yeah, and of course there's still a lot of criminals around,
that don't have that sort of...
Anyone, like, a criminal code, between them is fucking myth. They're bikies are the best example, because they were probably... I probably worked on locking bikies up. Fucking, that was our primary target demographic in the tactical operations unit, because they're obviously they're armed and they're often involved in robberies and extortions and doing all the fucking dodgy shit. But they're all also, they get around like fucking tough guys, fucking biggest pussies known to man. I mean, there's some tough guys in there and some capable people, but on the whole, psychologically, everything about them, they're just putrid, weak. They're not strong men. They're not men that you look up to, you know what I mean? And they all flip on each other and cry. Like, I've seen them piss their pants physically. Yeah, fuck, dude, how'd you do that? Been in some pretty rough scenarios myself. But pissing my pants, I just can't imagine that being in something that I would be employing. Yeah. One job with the feds, the main guy who's supposed to be a enforcer for this major drug fucking cartel, when the boys are hitting downstairs, he's running around the house shitting himself, and he's naked because he'd slipped down to another room. He was rooting someone's, so his wife didn't know. This all happens on the same night. Yeah. Bad luck, brother. He's run around naked trying to figure out what to do, but he's actually pooping. He left a poop trail. Oh, shit. Little pellets, through the house. So he's actually shitting himself.
Fucking hell.
So we're like going...
Interesting, man, what the human body does, eh? And you'd see all that shit on the beat, like...
It is if you're a massive heavyweight coward.
It's funny, though, you said you were talking about, like, the code of criminals or bullshit. I mean, I've seen some things in my life in my military career, but there are other things I'm not super aware of. I did this, like, crime tour in New York, this ex-cop talking about the mafia and stuff, and... I got mates in the crime squad here that worked on the bikie stuff. And I always had this idea in my head that they had this criminal code of honour. And it was this half, obviously the shitty crime thing, but I always thought it was just baddies on baddies. And there was some sort of code of honour, there was a bit of ethics involved. But every time I ask someone, they're just like, nah, man, it's not like the movies. And I mean, it's 100% brutal bullshit. There's nothing cool and clean about it, which was strange to me. It sounds very ignorant, but I mean, I've never worked that kind of stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't even know what really attracts people to it, because it's you got to deal with other shitbirds because you're in the criminal world. So that would drive me insane, just dealing with the fucking level of, retardation that's, they're in a criminal world for a reason, right?
Yeah.
But then also just looking over your back the whole time, and it's like no one is a successful long term as a criminal. Like, you're going to come undone, and then depending on how big you come undone, see, I just don't even know what drives it to it, because it doesn't take much fucking, capacity to go read a few books to realise, fuck, these dudes are studs, criminals, criminal masterminds. But hey, there's a book written about when they got arrested, and they're in jail for the rest of their life. So, I just don't know what drives it, man. It's fucking retarded.
Yeah.
Clearly the word for today.
What do they say? Bring it back gay and retarded or something else. Mate, so obviously the beat stuff is for you. You're loving that sort of stuff, hence why you go to TAU. Now, bro, do you still have a timing to get to today?
Yeah, I just might send a text.
Mate, send your text. I can't pause this thing. That's right. Everyone's just got to listen to this. And for those listening and watching, a lot of the time when I do the potty, people sometimes have a hard right timing, got stuff to go and do, lives to live, and podcasts are free. Ain't no one getting paid. I get a free shirt from some of my guests. But yeah, people do this podcast out of the kindness of their heart. So you've got to work with people doing what they've got to do.
All done.
All good, bro. Thanks, mate.
Sorry about that.
No, you're right, bro. I knew
you can see how long it takes me to touch type with my thumb. Sorry, I'll be late. No, it was a little bit more than that.
No, it's I'll just look at the time going forward. But yeah, man, so obviously beat time, loving it, variety of stuff, trying to avoid the traumatic shit, kiddie stuff, fucking suicides, traumatic car crashes, that sort of stuff. Ain't nobody looking forward to going to that.
It's not like you avoid it. It's just like, obviously you don't. There's an enjoyment with one, and there is not an enjoyment with the other. I suppose it's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah, 100%, man. And I freely admit, mate, if in my mindset now, post military career, with a family, focusing on business, I would still love to be a cop or in the army. Yeah. But if I came across one kiddie job, I would be done.
Yeah.
I'd want to kill everyone that had anything to do with the kiddie stuff, and I'd absorb the emotion. I just couldn't do it, man. I just couldn't do the kid stuff, bro. No. Dead kids, being fucking neglected by parents, kiddie abuse. I just couldn't, man. I just could not do it, bro. I'm not cut out for that shit. I used to. I think I could do it. I've seen dead kids, but something in my fucking biology changed when I had kids, and I just couldn't do kid stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, thankfully,
that's your end the podcast alarm.
Yeah, that was like, don't forget, you have to be somewhere alarm. Thankfully, people with our psychological makeup, we would get vetted away from those type of investigations anyway. So, honestly, the cops that do the pedos and, all the kiddie fiddlers and all that sort of, anything in that horrendous fucking area of criminality, we're sort of very much it's literally, it's treated as secret information, the same as what you would if you're working on a really significant counter-terrorism investigation or something. It's only need to know. And we would be psychologically profiled as to never undertake investigative duties in that line because, they'd be going, there's way too much chance of you, maybe snapping and just one day rolling up somewhere and go, fuck, this dude's going to do it again, but not under my watch. We're, for good reason, they psychologically sort of assess who's going to be doing that type of investigation. Fucking obviously, clearly, we would not be suitable.
Good.
We're involved in arrest if they're dangerous. When we're in a tactical operations unit, but or even in uniform, we might go and help out. But that's where it finishes. 'Cause it's just too horrendous. But so I tip my hat to anyone that sort of works in that field because I just can't imagine how they unpack that.
And
they've got to look at that shit.
Someone's got to do it.
Yeah, some of them pretend to be, fucking 12-year-old kids, and so how do you sit there in a conversation with some fucking Jeffrey Epstein fucking creep? You know what I mean? Man, it's got to take some level of fortitude and fucking professionalism. I can tell you now.
100%, mate. Yeah. Hence why I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But mate, so obviously you've got this proclivity to do some cool stuff. You want to do the hard stuff. Skip forward to TOU.
Yep.
I won't make you detail selection, training. I think we all kind of get the idea there.
Yeah.
Very difficult. How just briefly, how long is the selection course for that?
Selection itself is like a week, 7 days.
Yep.
And then you sort of, if you compare it to because everything we do is mirrored off what you do, so we didn't want to reinvent the wheel. So, selection activities going on in the military, probably since, Muhammad was playing fullback for Jerusalem. So, so we gravitated not only off your selection methodologies, because obviously all of the TAC units around the country wanted to make sure they were employing the same type of people for the same reasons that SF were. So Special Forces was our template. I know yours goes for a longer period of time. Ours like 7 days. So I think some of the other states have varying lengths. I think the 7 days is enough time to give the instructors within our scope a good understanding of who they're dealing with, and then it goes into the equivalency of your Rio cycle, which you can get cut away at any time. So, and that if you did those courses to become a standardised member, 6 months back to back courses for, so intensive. You might do a 2-week advanced pistol course because you already got a handgun qualification. So then it's just advanced shooting, which obviously always progressed over time. You get better and better. Then you got all the carbine AR platforms, you got shotguns. Then you got CQB, you got water operations, air operations, fast roping, rappelling, like everything that goes with it. So I was lucky enough to get most of my full suite of courseware sort of completed, maybe 7 months, 8 months period. Once I got to the unit, because there was I was employed initially to deliver a counter-terrorism response for the Olympics. So there was a surge on how many people at the TOU, plus, then they just get to keep guys that they wanted out of that cohort. It was interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, but, sure, man.
Yeah, so where were we there? 6 months of...
I love the multiple alarms. That's fucking exactly what I do, man.
It's probably my alarm just going...
You probably hit the snooze, not the turn off.
Yeah, it's like it defeats all of your volume controls. Dirty bastard. Let's hope it doesn't come up again. Apologies, man. During that, because you've got all your core competencies you have to be involved in then operations there. So if you, for some reason, hadn't done an air operations course, you might have got injured on one of the other courses, and you miss that one, then you have to wait for the next sort of group to come through and then participate in that. So, sometimes even when I was doing all my courseware, I had dudes who'd been in that unit for 18 months, 2 years.
Yeah.
Because they just hadn't had an opportunity to run that particular training, especially if they'd they'd only brought in 2 or 3 guys at a time.
At an intake,
They're just waiting for enough to actually
to make it worth doing the course. Yeah.
So so once I got all through the courseware, you know, I ended up sort of specialising in breaching and sniping at the same time. But I loved both of those, man. Yeah. Especially blowing shit up.
Like in terms of the special operations continuum skills set, they're like diametrically opposed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's a little bit of overlap, but
I introduced some explosive breaching methodologies within our sniping. So, you know, for clearing windows and urban CT sort of activities. Once again, you know, methodologies we'd worked with, you know, your snipers and over in Perth as well. Guys, you know, so we just like, hey, what are you guys doing here? Yeah, do this. This is really cool. Make sure you do this. Don't fucking do that. You know. So I always acknowledge the epic amount of support we had from the military, you know, special forces, and I actually felt more at home when we were doing some sort of activity with guys in Perth or guys at Holsworthy. Because they're just like, man, that's all those, every single dude there is like, you know, is of the ilk that I like gravitate to just naturally. Just epic men, working hard, no bullshit, just get done, you know, as highly skilled as you can, and then put it into practice.
Yeah.
And just be the most badass motherfuckers that you come up against. If not overwhelm someone that's more of a badass than you. never play fair, right? So yeah. It was like, I'm super grateful for, and it's just the sheer, like, no one ever had a problem sharing anything. You know, they knew we were trusted with that information as well. But there's a fair bit of, and I'll always be grateful, you know, whether it was doing a skills enhancement program over in Perth. So you're on SAS's base, you know, for a couple of weeks at a time doing, you know, skills upgrading with all the other dudes, you know, from different PTGs around Australia.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, they'd always have a couple of military guys that were they were there to help chaperone through, you know, whether it was at Holsworthy or Swanbourne. You know, obviously, if you were our point of contact for that course, you would have been a sniper if it was a sniper program. In which case, you could help assess us, give us, you know, some further information on and some additional training. So yeah, man, it was just like fucking perfect. Scratched that, you know, my military itch to a large degree because now here I am, you know, working side by side with them, doing interoperability training with them, with you guys, and yeah, just getting to see how that works as well.
Yeah, nice, man.
Yeah.
And then what about, say, in the unit? Obviously, you talked about before about, like, you know, mostly sort of targeting bikies. I imagine there'd be a little bit of CT kind of stuff, but
yeah,
what's the sort of jobs you're doing as in their TOU?
You know,
because there's one standout one that I want to ask you about.
Oh yeah, so mainly dudes committing armed robberies would be number one. That's our number one target demographic. You know, and it turns out the bikies are involved in that a fair bit, right? And next one would be outlaw motorcycle gangs for whatever, you know, infractions, whether it's, you know, we're wrapping them up for, mostly for them, it's drug manufacture and supply, you know, so, and everything that goes with the drug trade. That's the bikies. But I suppose the number one is the armed robbery. And armed robbery was fucking, you know, like fuck, every day, man. Multiple times every day, armed robbery with weapons. Throughout Sydney.
Where are they based?
Right in the middle of Sydney. Right, one street back from Oxford Street in Surrey Hills, yeah.
Yeah. That's perfect for you guys too.
What are you saying? Man, yeah. There's many times
I used to party in Oxford Street, bro. Yeah. It's a good place to party.
There's so many times I walk up the street to go get like a cheap Japanese, you know, feed or something. And then there'd be dudes hanging out the pub because, you know, the type of area it is. And they'll be wolf whistling you. Ooh, check you out, bro. Don't change a thing. Look at you, big boy. And it was like, man, now I know what it feels like to be some of the hot chick walk past, you know, a group of dudes.
Yeah, to just be a piece of meat.
Yeah. It's like, man. And some of those dudes, by the way, I don't think I could beat in a fight. They're big fucking ripped dudes, you know, like they were looking after themselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't care about that shit, man. It's like, you know, each to their own, man. But yeah, it was, yeah, so armed robbery, bikies, and then just like extortions, like anything you can think of. And then all the way down to, you know, Joe Blow's had a fucking falling down fucking experience in his life, and he's shot up the house, or he's holding the cops at sea, you know, at bay, so there's a siege. Sieges, you know, obviously but those were happening all the time, you know. And basically, we had a contain and negotiate sort of methodology that was strictly sort of enforced. So, you know, unless it was in exigent circumstances, you know, for a team to make entry, yeah, there's like the cops had an appetite to. They would be out the front with a command post for 3 days, man, if it meant that rather than killing someone.
Yeah.
Which I agree with, you know. But
plus the risk of being internal to a stronghold as well, and with weapons and whatnot, it's yeah.
So yeah, some always a massive amount of interesting shenanigans. You know, the longer you're at a siege, you know, dudes started getting fucking hell. This is getting some pretty funny stories, like rock, paper, scissors. Who's got a leopard crawl out of a position so you can go get your KFC because you haven't eaten for fucking 2 days, you know. And there's a drop off, but they can't obviously drop it off to where we are, especially if we're sitting, you know, in a sniper position or you know, just in a cordon sort of thing. So yeah, pretty is. But yeah, interesting times. That being said, it got to a point where I just felt like I'd replicated a lot of it. It's like everyone, I'm even getting phone calls from the US now. Fantastic times. Sorry, dude.
You're
Just
right,
turn
mate.
that fucker off.
No, that's all good.
Yeah, yeah, even with, like, there's always something different. Even the same job is different, right?
Yeah.
There's different parameters, different reactions from crooks and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, I did get to a point where it's like, you know, like an opportunity to go do the private contracting came up, and I thought, oh, you know, that's really an opportunity to, now you can go put some of your skills into action in a proper, legitimate war zone. You know, it's post invasion type war, but it's still, you know, there's an active war going on there.
Yeah, and it was an insurgency. There's always
Yeah.
something going on.
So, yeah, you know, as much as it was the career I dreamed, my dream job, you know, so it had to take something pretty significant to sort of make you, make you willing to resign to go do something else. Plus, I always, you know, plan on coming back. So, but yeah, I mean, you know, while we're still talking about TOU, like, you know, I said my passion areas were the breaching. You know, so developing that with the breaching cell there. I went and did you know, got my shot firer's ticket. So I went and got a external qualification for explosive management and use, you know. So that's quite a substantial ticket as well, because that allows me to go, with that ticket I could go work at a mine in a commercial sense, you know, blasting quarries or whatever you want to do, trees, rocks, or, you know, big ground bursts, whatever you, but the special purpose explosive uses was really what I was in that course for. And it was just the best, man. Can't believe someone paid me to just spend so much time designing, and, you know, once again we'd tap into the knowledge base with both East and West Coast SF units, and so we didn't have to reinvent wheels there.
Yeah.
So, you know, just like charge types, charge constructions, you know, and we'd share information back. Hey, have you guys, you know, done any work, try to penetrate something like this? No, but we'd be very interested. And sometimes we go, no, and we'll see you tomorrow. You know, like come and jump in. Yeah, I can't believe someone paid me to do that. It's like, you know, blasting, fucking, whether it was blasting a hole in a roof, you know, or double brick cavity, you know, fuck, it's unreal. And it's so surgical.
Yeah.
That's what I liked about it. You just get it, you know, try to get that net explosive weight to, you know, don't go too far above what's required to get the entry, especially or, you know, IDCs and all that sort of stuff. But
yeah, it's interesting, man. The breaching stuff, like it's a lot more technical than I think I gave it credit for when I was, because I was a breacher as well on team. It was a lot more technical than I gave it credit for, especially doing the course and stuff. Talk about like NEQs, NEWs, like you were saying, and all these different acronyms and stuff. And it's there was a lot more consideration. For me, it was just not. I'm more just like, just give me the fucking thing and I'll do it kind of guy. But I had to stop and pause a lot of the times and think about some stuff. So, did you ever blow in on a target doing a job?
So, man, like one of the sieges, actually that one I was just going to say leopard crawl for a bit of KFC. Yeah. I lost the rock paper scissors on that one. So, anyway, so at that job, we'd been going for about 3 days. Dude, was down at Hurstville, and they'd actually rang our office that morning, detectives, and said, "Hey, can we utilise the tactical operations unit for this arrest?" And then basically, back in those days, if you had to be able to say, if my command off the information that was at hand would say yes every day of the week, but not if you can't guarantee that or there's a high chance that the target's going to be at the location you're putting forward. Because you can imagine, if you sort of weakened that a little bit, anyone with half-baked sort of fear of, potential sort of issue, we'd be at 5 million jobs a year and you'd never get anything done. So anyway, they'd run through. They couldn't guarantee that he was there, which means that they really didn't know where he was. So they said, if you can identify where he is, we'll assist you with the arrest phase. Anyway, so what do? They go they go to this address at Hurstville, and one of the detectives, the dude, it was him and another female. He reckons, he was telling me later, as he went up to the door, he was like, "We got a fucking sixth sense, something's not fucking right here." So he bends down. He had I don't know, I honestly can't wrap my head around this, why anyone would have a fucking ankle holster, unless you're like Cirque du Soleil or whatever it is.
Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah, like, fuck, man. It would take me half an hour to get my handgun out of my fucking, down around my feet, being 6'5". He bends over to get his gun out of his fucking ankle holster. I really struggle with ankle holsters, don't I?
What was it, a fucking Derringer? Some sort of fucking six-shooter.
Ankle holster is up there with shoulder holster. And
the leather fucking strap things.
Anyone that's wearing one of those, man, there's a fucking colossal fucking no idea, motherfucker. Anyway, he bends over, he's getting his gun, boom, 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 through the door, around about where he would have been standing.
No shit.
So they've obviously evacuated themselves off the front of that, and they've hid behind a couple of cars out the front, and then obviously, and then it went from, because I knew the job request had come through, and then it's like, oh, well, looks like we should have attended that one. So myself and other 2 operators were in the Bearcats, early days Bearcat, when it was white. And one of my buddies basically drove that between where the cars are parked on the street side and the front of this house, just provide some block and then throw those detectors in the back. When I was shutting the door, they goes, "Aren't you coming?" I go, "No. Someone's got to stay here." Hopefully old mate pops out right now so we can get this over and done with. Anyway, so, and I just remember Bill's driving off with this and just literally taking out the side of at least fucking 8 cars, boom, boom, to get back out onto the street. Anyway, that job, the dude had murdered his girlfriend's mum, run around the house at another location. Had to do a mag reload. He was firing so many rounds during that murder. That was the first time we used an explosive charge in New South Wales police history.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you blow the charge?
No, I just put it together. The guy, myself and another breacher, actually both of us were off to do a national breaching course with the Soggies down in Melbourne.
Oh, yeah.
Like about 5 days later. So it was like, yes, we're the first TAC team in the cops to have actually done a live explosive breach.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Victoria did it the fucking day before. Sorry, Victoria did it earlier that day.
Yeah.
At a bikies premises.
Because Vicpol Sog's got a pretty good reputation amongst the PTGs, am I right?
Yeah. Top level unit.
I had a guy in here, Shane Donaldson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's rock solid. He's ex-commandos, isn't he?
No.
Oh.
No.
So, yeah, we thought we were Cheshire cats, that we'd be able to wander down to that breaching program. Like, fucking, yeah. Have you ever done an operation one? Shut the fuck up. Like, it turns out we were second.
You'd have to check the times, but like, no, we did it on the 23rd.
I checked the times, man. We come second.
Damn it.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was cool. We worked out that NEW, NEQ, whatever, for that charge. We just did a basic corner-to-corner strip charge. But it was like, I looked at my offsider. He's one commando. Now I'll go, you think of what I'm thinking? He goes, yeah, if this is our first breach, the rules are better to go a little bit over than slightly under because you don't want to be ineffective. So we just put an extra strip in.
Why not?
It went through.
It did. It would have breached, yeah.
Oh, you know what, but it was funny. I talked to the chief negotiator for New South Wales Police, who's a fucking really good dude. And I'd been literally awake for fucking 3 days, man, when we were putting that charge together. You know, I had little snippets of sleep here and there, but I hadn't gone home.
Yeah.
Nearly 3 days. It's fucking incredible when you think about it. Anyway, putting that charge up, and once we blew that, you know, obviously all the head sheds come up to have a look. And old mate's dead, right? We didn't kill him, but he capped himself. I nearly doubled down on his, because when we cleared the joint, we blew the door, gave it a bit of time, nothing, right, we're in. Normally we'd send a dog in, but like you don't want to send a dog in especially if it's an armed offender. It's like pretty much you're just going to kill your dog.
You still got to give them the same courtesy as you would. Yeah.
So we're doing, anyway, go through, as we come into the room where he is, he's like slumped on the floor at the end of a single bed. And he'd obviously it was like a 1911. So he's pulled under his chin, dunk, and then must have just leant forward, and then the gun's going so it's pointed. So when you come in the bedroom door, it's fucking pointing at the door, like at you.
Yeah.
It's like, and he's sort of sitting there, and his chin's gone onto his shoulder or into his top of his chest, and so whatever hole was there, you know, there's obviously some activity here under the back of his skull. You couldn't see, but from all intents of what you could see at the front, it wasn't much to indicate that he was 100% dead.
Yeah.
And he had a smirk on his face. You know, like that's obviously the way his face relaxed. I don't think he was smiling at the time. Anyway, just looked. So when I come around the corner, I was like, fucking, you know, straight into whatever verbiage came out of my mouth in super aggressive moment. But like, because the gun was pointing at me, as I come around the corner, I was already had the momentum, as you know, with room clearance. I was trying to get into my area, you know, so the other operator could, hook in and get that corner of the room. But so because I had momentum, that's probably the only reason I didn't shoot him again, because the gun's pointing at me and had a smoke on my face. It's like, fuck, you know, are you really willing to take a life and death choice not to whack him? But it was like, so I just kept moving, and then my safety's come off, you know, but I noticed that nothing had changed, no facial manners, and everything's there. So I was like, oh yeah, and then go up, double check that he's dead, and then basically said, thanks for the overtime, you fucking cunt, because I've been here for 3 days. So it's overtime central, right? Yeah, which got picked up on the listening device, nice. And you know that gets talked about later. But I was talking to Graham, and that came out and assessed the scene. And he goes, how'd you go? Did you enjoy doing that, Sam? Like blowing the door? I said, fuck yeah. It's the best way to get into a dwelling than stand there trying to, you know, belt the fuck out of it with a ram or something. And he goes, I hope you enjoyed it, because you won't be doing that again for a fucking long time. And I go, why is that? And he goes, dude, everyone shit themselves in the CP. And I go, well, what did you expect fucking, you know, explosives to sound like in suburban Sydney at 2 o'clock in the morning, dude?
Was it? Oh, no shit.
Yeah, it was like fucking middle of the night, kaboosh.
Were you rocking nods or were you white light?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Oh, and then because you're blown, you just go.
You just white light in there,
yeah.
Fucking hell, hectic, man.
Yeah, it's funny. You know, the funny thing is, like, before we blew it, you know, there was a bit, we hadn't had any, every time I thought this offender had killed himself, because a lot of offenders in those scenarios, when they realise ain't getting out, they whack themselves, you know. They might last a couple of days and fuck, this is, unless you're going to jail forever. fucking douche. So every time we go, this dude hasn't probably shot at us about 20-something times over those few days. You know, you didn't know where the rounds were going. We just obviously been in positions where we were safe. You shot enough intermittently not to trigger an EA, you know what I mean? But anyway, so they got to a point where we hadn't heard from them for a while. We got the charge on the door, and they're going, just doing everything last minute because they don't want to get criticised in coroner's court. You know, we kill someone unnecessarily. So they, at one point, they're going, righto, any of you guys on the red side of the joint, they got access to that side of his joint. You know, we'll get you throw a couple of fucking whatever rocks or half bricks that are around in your immediate vicinity. You know, at the side of the house on the roof, just to sort of. We're trying to trigger some sort of reaction from inside. Because even a gunshot or a get fucked gun, you know, okay, he's still alive. Yeah. But nothing would sort of indicate, okay, there's a chance he's actually dead. So, you know, boys are doing it, but like when that call comes out, because it comes out at some sieges, it's like a gift to everyone on the perimeter. Fucking just pelt the house, try to break as many windows as you could. So we're always way over, you know, schedule what you're throwing in there, you know. It's like... Anyway, one of the boys on the perimeter throwing a little red half brick through, and I could see it on the floor in that room. Anyway, when everyone's outside, there was a critical investigation team. So, you know, dudes that were like me that had gone into that room and had interaction with that dude who's clearly dead. You just had to go through some investigative procedures, just making sure we didn't do it, and we're trying to put it down as a suicide. So there's, you know, there's protocols and fuck bullshit. Anyway. When that's happening, it's sort of they try to isolate people. One of the guys on that perimeter is fucking so gullible. He's come up to me and goes, well, what's the story, Sam? So I go, I can't really talk, man. There's been an incident. There's an incident attached to this. What are you talking about? And I said, I don't know. Well, whoever was on the red side must have thrown a half brick through the window, and apparently that's gone through the window and then hit old mate's gun, and I think that's made his gun go off and fucking... And that's why he's fucking dead. Can you fucking believe it? So it's a good, yeah. Well, anyone with half a brain would just go, fuck off. Yeah. You know what I mean? But he's like, because he threw it. I knew he threw it. Anyway, he's going, oh, fuck, are you for real? And I said, yeah. So I can't talk, man. Like, fuck it. And then he was like, I could see him stressing out. And then talking to one of my other mates, and I see the reaction of my mate going, pfft. And he comes straight back over. He goes, you're a dirty cunt. And I go, 100%. He goes, man, why would you fucking bullshit about that? I go, why not? It's fucking funny. Have a look at yourself. He was like, so even in those moments, man, it's like shenanigans of some description, you know, trying to keep it, you know, keep it real. And
and if you've done that many fucking jobs, you know what I mean, like they all sort of, I mean, I imagine they'd blend into one, right? Yeah. For the most part.
I mean, especially in those days, man, we were doing sieges where someone was armed with a fucking blunt spoon, you know, so, you know, if it met certain criteria, you're there, you go, fuck, what are we doing here? So when the, you know, units like PAWS were stood up, and they're really capable units, so they've escalated right up and taken over a large chunk of probably the jobs that, you know, allowing us to spend more time training and becoming more competent in more complex sort of jobs. So, because the last thing you want to be doing is so busy you're never training, you know, as you know, because, you know, your experience levels increase, but your actual skills depreciate. So, you know, being busy isn't necessarily the be-all, end-all, you know, for experience. And the other thing is too, if you went for 50 jobs in a row, you know, there might be a core group of dudes that sort of somehow did all of the interaction, and some guys would be going, fuck, man, I've been on this job and I've just been like, you know... in the corner. And it's like you never actually, you know, the hands-on component or some really massive interaction is, you know, happening with other people. So it's good the way it is now, and it should, hopefully they just keep improving that as well, and giving those dudes all the weapons and training they need. And the GDs as well. They should be, like, M4s should be in every fucking squad car, you know. This inability to think that that's a good idea by executive level is fucking mind-boggling. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's easier to train someone how to use an AR platform. It's easier to maintain the skills. I'm talking in comparison to a handgun. And it's much more accurate, far less chance of, like it's a bystander getting shot.
I think of
it's a fucking no-brainer.
The rule of subtension, the way the fucking pistol can those
man.
rounds. If you're not disciplined, don't know what you're doing, they could go anywhere.
Yeah. And the motor skills required for a handgun different to the motor skills required for a long arm.
Yeah.
You don't need as much cognitive input to successfully utilise a AR platform as what you do with a handgun, because there's so much. Handguns are fucking terrible when you think about it. I love shooting them, but they're if you're not shooting them all the time, and if I talk to anyone like out of our ilk, if they go, how many rounds a day for you to feel like you're really super competent? It's like 500 rounds a day, and then you've got our cops doing fucking 70 a year.
70 rounds a year?
Yeah, anywhere from, depending on which jurisdiction and how they do it, it's like anywhere from as low as one jurisdiction as low as like 24, because if you pass your shoot, you're done. It's like, fuck off. That's not, where's the training? That's just saying, okay, I passed that shoot. Like, man, you are critically undercooked as for someone that's carrying a fucking weapon. So it's funny. It's just like, I'm not critical of the individual officers but I'm super critical of their organisations if they think that they have trained people to a high level of competency with handguns especially. Fuck, man, you need to be on those things all the time. Otherwise, you're fucking useless.
Mate, for us on like CQB and whatnot, the pistol was the kind of the make or break. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like you've got to put a lot of effort into it. Mate, we'd be shooting 200 rounds before lunch. Maybe 5 days a week sometimes. But I think that's the stuff we can take for granted sometimes, and plus with things like budgets and for us particular time allocation, some of the stuff we take for granted. But
yeah,
if you're a beat cop, you are. I'm not preaching to anyone. I don't know about the cops too much, but you are the first responder. You are the first
100%.
response.
And I've always said, because when I came back from overseas, and now I work outside of, I work in a commercial setting, but I'm still connected because we're supplying equipment and in some occasions training outcomes as well. But it was like I always said to people, I don't, from a commercial perspective, as much as I love all my special operations dudes, I know that they're competent enough to know what they need, and I don't need to spend an overly large amount of time because they've got budgets, knowledge, and expertise. They can go, hey, Samps, bang, 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 need this. Okay, no problem. A lot of my interest was sat with first responders, uniformed police, because it was like, how is it that you got a uniform like New South Wales Police, they get someone in uniform does a 12-hour shift. They interact with the same criminals, same terrorists, same organised crime, same bikies, same fucking meth heads that the tactical operations unit has to go and deal with as well. The difference is when the TOU are involved, it's because of something's occurred and it's more of a wrap up, or go and arrest a dangerous person who has left the scene, and there's obviously that skill set required to get that person into custody, hopefully without any further loss of life. But at the beginning, when the cops turn up to an active shooter event, you know what I mean. So the tactical operations unit, if they get there within that while that active shooter activity is still occurring, fantastic. But generally, that's not the case. It's done and dusted by the time they get there for that type of thing, active shooter.
Yeah.
So why is it that we don't empower, we don't train, equip appropriately, not pretend, but a real skills, real equipment, real capability to the people that are going to be there first? You know what I mean? So I'm talking like, how come the special operations unit's got fucking Gucci gun belts, holsters, fucking, whatever. Over here, no, just, Z-grade shit. Why don't we need to be looking after them? A, they're wearing it longer, but B, they're still interacting with the same people first. So I was like, fuck, it just did my head in.
Yeah.
Still does actually, but unfortunately, a lot of decision making is done at a level where mediocrity is the flavour of the day.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not, down there on the fucking, rolling around in the dirt with everyone, you don't really know, and it's easy to lose touch, I think, with that kind of stuff, So, yeah.
So I've got a real passion for first responders because they're the ones at most risk. A lot of people would say over the years, "Oh fuck, man, that's fucking incredible!" Like, this job or this operation with TOU or things we're doing with the feds or whatever, whatever it is. I go, man, our job's dangerous, but it's nowhere near as dangerous as like being in a uniform, police, turning up. You think you're going to a noise complaint, and then fucking someone opened fires on you. You know what I mean? Or you're walking up for what you would think would be a normal job. You go to knock on the door, you've got to talk to people, about a complaint or whatever. In your mind, you're going, well, this is pretty nothing outrageous, Yeah. No one's going to jail for the rest of his life. It's like just need to, clear whatever case we've been given. But those are the ones that your cops get killed. Someone just opens up, and you don't know. And the things that are least concerning are often the ones that turn into the real fucking out there fucking shootings and, where cops get killed. So, as opposed to us, like we knew who the crook was, we knew sort of where they were, they knew what they were armed with, and then we didn't play fair man. It's like if it was two crooks armed, there's fucking 12 of us. If there's 3 of them, there's 18 of us, and then it just keeps escalating till we run out of dudes. But you know what I mean? It's like, so I take my hat off to uniform police, super dangerous.
Mate, perfect example is the Bondi shooting recently, man.
Yeah.
2 dudes rocking fucking long arms.
Yep.
They whack, what did they whack? 20 people. 20 people, and then like GD coppers were the first ones there. I mean, I know everyone was talking about that one particular out of uniform guy. He made a pretty decent shot from sort of the north side of that staircase.
Epic level.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's been doing a bit of his own stuff in his own time, which is great.
I know, but like,
that's that. Like, whether you do or don't put that time in, you may be in that scenario. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't appreciate that till I got to SF. You know what I mean? Like the amount of time and effort, repetition, inside and outside work you got to do.
Yeah. Oh, man, I can't even imagine what it'd be like to turn up to a shooting, with the level of training they actually get. And like I said, luckily he had taken it upon himself, to improve his skills outside of work, paid dividends for that. That organisation as enjoying the dividends of that, So is he, because he can sleep at night knowing that, what he did was like fucking epic. You know what I mean? I sent a message through it, another buddy. So at this point in time, it's probably not ideal for them to go start talking to people. And like, what it's like. Everyone comes out from the woodwork trying to be mates with people who, I know that dude, I don't know him. But I do know someone that did. So I said, hey, can you just pass on this message, say, outstanding work, bro. If I could, I'd kiss you on the lips from this fucking, for what you've done here. It is epic level policing. Thank you. Hold your head up high. I look forward to buying you a beer in the future. Once you're able to, job well done, man. It's like everyone in the whole fucking country would be epically proud of what you've done here, the bravery and the outcome. And he sent one back saying, I'm so, he said to my buddy who sort of passed the message on, he goes, man, he was just so blown away. He goes, I can't believe Semple was like, say that, man. And he's like, are you serious? Look, if you had to think about what you've achieved here, and it is epic achievement. Yeah. So, but yeah, going back to that, mate, imagine if he had he was trained, he had access to they look at an AR platform, and it's, what do they call them? Assault rifles,
Like you're going to fire it full auto from the fucking hip.
Yeah.
I think that's the idea. Maybe they've seen too many fucking movies or something. I don't know.
And let's look at it as like it's, this is not a good look for the public. Who gives a fuck what the public think? The public are the reason why we need them. Because the public are the victims of these types of shootings that are going on, and B, the public have decided to arm themselves. When I say the public, I'm talking about the criminal element of our public, have decided to arm themselves with rather, decent sort of weaponry, mostly through the black market. So they run around with fucking the equivalent of a fucking AK, or SKSs, mainly. But, how do you not fucking want our first responders to be able to Just deal with
to
that,
be
man.
epic.
Yeah. Just like the cops in America, they just fucking click their fucking M4 out. Like the agencies still look at it, they call it a silencer, you know, your suppressor. It's like, fuck, no one's ever, just so you know, like, yeah, there is a place called Silencer Co., but they sell suppressors, not silencers, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, don't even look at that suppressor as being, forget about any of the tactical advantages with it. Just from an OH&S point of view, put them on your weapon, because that's the only thing that's going to stop you from not creating hearing and brain trauma over time, you know, with percussion and overpressure, you know. So, but they look at it and go, oh, it's a military style weapon. No, it's a fucking jackhammer. It's, you know, it's a tool. You know, it might look cool to someone who thinks it's cool, but like at the end of the day, it's just fucking. And you go from, you know, just your pistol with two wrists that fucking rotate, fucking, you know, whatever our wrists rotate at. You got to keep the skills that going into firing a handgun, fucking 100 times more than a fucking an AR platform, which has got 4 points of contact on your body if you count the cheek. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, the variables in the wrist, for example, like the subtension, you know, that fucking the range where the rounds could go,
and everything like your grip, your trigger pull, you know, everything is all intertwined. So you get one thing like isn't working properly, it affects the other aspects of your pistol shooting. So it's a fucking dog's breakfast. You've got to get all of those fucking perfect every single time. And think about when you're doing your qualification shoot back when you're at in the SF, you know, and you're doing a primary, secondary shoot. Remember, it's like target up in the first 2 rounds, you know, literally that quick, and they are fucking perfect fucking shot placements instantly. And then the handgun comes out, you listen to the whole crew, then it's like, and then there's a bit more of a pause, boom, you know what I mean? Because it took that much more effort to put a round in that, you know, 10 metre fucking CT shooting fucking scored shoot that we used to do.
Yeah.
There's your proof of your pudding right there.
Yeah, without all the other variables of the stress and whatnot, the gear and, you know, whether you fucking join it, all that type of shit, yeah. Mate, I want to, what's the time frame here? We're looking another 15 minutes?
No, I'm good. I've already, my timeline is, whatever I was supposed to be doing is now someone else will have to do it.
Okay, sweet, cool. I was going to say, I'm happy to do a part 2, but, because do you want to have a break, mate?
It's up to you. We can have a break and then you can, whatever you want to do, man.
I'm happy to keep going if you are.
Yeah.
Because there's the job I want to ask you about, and we spoke about it last time, but it was off air, and it was hands down the best fucking operator story I've ever heard. And it was you and the boys got your brief about this dude had this siege, and it was you know that movie is it Falling Down with
Oh yeah.
It was that kind of guy. He just old mate just fucking down on his luck, misses left him, whatever, and he was at some sort of siege, and you guys are getting the brief, and you're talking about it, and you're like, this cunt is just like he could be just one of us, you know, having a bad day sort of thing.
So there's another demographic in the tactical world, you know, for police special operations unit, and obviously PAWS have picked up a fair bit of slack there now. And it's like, so you got, you know, if there's a barricaded suspect in a house, it could be a criminal, murderer, it's done X, Y, Z, and then sometimes there's dudes like that guy, and there was quite a few of those dudes. It's just like they're just pushed to the brink, you know, going through divorces, not allowed to see their kids. Some of them as a result of some interactions, because not everyone has the capacity to, you know, dudes are 100%. From what I've seen in the cops, there is so much fucking pressure put on some dudes that are going through divorces. I'm talking about offenders I've come across over the years, and you go, man, like this whole scenario would have been slightly avoidable. I'm not saying, not being controversial and saying what they
like excusing interactions or whatever.
There was, you can see there was this this long trail of, you know, just removing every aspect that made that guy behave sensibly. You know what I mean? So, you know, like I could recognise people. Like you look at it and go, fuck, that could be me. You know, like you just got to come across some like a perfect scenario where your whole life's just getting ripped out from underneath you. You're not allowed to see your kids. You've just lost your job. You're getting attacked left, right, and centre. You're going to be broke. You know what I mean? Everything's, and maybe you've reacted poorly and put yourself in that position, but still, there's no one in their corner. You know what I mean? That's preventing them to go fucking cyclic. You know, so there's been a few dudes where sort of part of if we get an opportunity to talk to them, that's exactly what we say. Say, dude, we know what you're going through here. We know you're not a criminal. You're not like a lot of the people we come across every day that are recidivist offenders. Your world's gone upside down. Right now, you think you cannot fucking get it back. It's done, but you can. Trust us. Even with what's happening here, there's going to be some requirement. You're going to have to pay a little bit of penance, but it's not the end of the world. There's nothing, if they hadn't killed anyone or there's nothing here that's going to dictate the pathway for the rest of your life. So we just sort of reached them that way. Sometimes it didn't work, and they'd off themselves. And a lot of them were trying to do death by cop, suicide by cop. But that dude, it was one of those ones where you get a call out at fucking 2 o'clock in the morning. You get the whoever's on shift, skeleton crew, and we pull in our on-call team. But depending on where dudes lived, if we get enough people on scene and it's urgent enough, we're just like, right, roll on it as best we can. So it's, that's pretty hectic. You're literally on a bonnet of a car at 2 o'clock in the morning, working out who's done what's actually occurred, what the dude looks like, minimal information from our unit's perspective.
Yeah.
And then his roll. And that one he presented with, so we sort of come across him nearly straight away. We were going down to get in a position, and he had a shotty, but a big, not a shortened one, which you can obviously lever up to you very quickly. It's fucking about 10 foot long. Still, it's a shotgun, right?
Yeah.
And then we caught him dead. He's come around the corner and he's like, and it's like, hey, don't fucking move, dude. And my offsider, who's a fucking incredibly, I thought he was the most violent dude I ever fucking, operated with, that's the perception, and then looks the part as well. Anyway, it really got to me, this job, because it was like I saw a level of empathy with some of my senior operators, We're always like, man, fucking, that dude has dropped the hammer. The instant someone fucks with me, it would just fucking, if the opportunity's there, and it's the right thing to do, of course. But I'd put him in the top fucking 5 out of my whole unit in that category, And bang, he's like going, right, everyone just fucking hold. I want you to listen. Don't even fucking move. Hold the gun. If it makes you feel comfortable, but don't raise it, because it's not going to end well for you. You know what's going to happen, and we don't want to do that. And then he bang just goes into a fucking quick repertoire of like, one thing that you need to know is that this group of dudes that are here, we understand what you're going through, and we can sort of identify with how your life's taken a dive. And we've got guys in our unit. One dude that's even here is going for a really nasty divorce. Dude, this is not the way out. Don't do this. Like, don't fucking, And it was just this real shared, and it was a legit, honest interaction. His form of negotiating, which is like, lift the gun, we'll shoot you in the face, but we don't want you to. So you hold the gun if it makes you feel comfortable for now, until we can get you comfortable enough to put it down, and in the end, we didn't have to kill him. And then he, my offside is like, almost gave him a fucking bear hug once we fucking zipped him. Gonna be good, bro. I'm not fucking bullshitting. So it wasn't like some contrived story. Once we got him, we beat him up and go, suck in, motherfucker. Yeah. It was actually followed up by, dude, do everything you can to get back on track, and use this moment fucking to fucking forge forward, bro. Like, just epic words to some dude he didn't know. But you know what? In hindsight, I look back and I go, I know what he was thinking, because he was thinking what, he could see that it's sort of like an affinity with people. And let's face it, if you're working with someone that was looking like just hanging out to shoot someone, like I wouldn't work with them.
Yeah.
Because that's not what we're about. You don't get extra, you're not extra tough because you killed fucking 25 people. If you did and they were bad guys, fucking, I tip my cap to you, you lucky bastard. But it's not the measure. of a man or a warrior, how many people you killed, because a lot of the warriors that I worked with, I rate them as really fucking epic fucking men because of the restraint that they showed and risk to themselves. They really took something to the nth degree, trying their best to fucking, dude, you don't want to fucking do this. Even if they're a crook, man. It's like, fuck, you know what? Everyone's got their fucking reasons why they're in a shit position. It's like, it was epic, man. You know what? It actually emotionally affected me when I was driving back. Because I just drove home after it. Didn't go back to the office. It's like, fuck, man, that's pretty heavy. You know, like in terms of just nothing to do with the job. It's like, you know, some armed dude, we got him, who cares? But just that interaction and just the words and the authentic fucking words from someone who actually fucking cared. And then watching that dude's reaction and do the right thing and it's fucking hopefully fucking back on track now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mate, and that is my, like, and I've obviously, you know, heard a lot of cool stories and the guys I've worked with and whatnot, but that is my favourite one ever because I think it speaks to the full fucking spectrum, the totality of who and what you should be as a fucking operator, as a police officer, as a soldier, as a fiery. Like, you need to have that fucking edge. You need to be a savage when it comes to your job.
Full savage.
And that absolute complete competence and the confidence to do what you got to do and the conviction. But if you do that without empathy and without control, you're just a fucking psychopath.
100%.
And like, you can tell in that moment that's, you know, you were just, you and your offside, for example, two men that had worked on all aspects of your fucking self. And man, I don't know, man, something about that story just fucking speaks to me more than, you know, any other cool story I've ever heard. And I just think it's the best story.
It's good because it shows a level of like human interaction that's going on in that is higher fucking stress. What you'd have to put like up in there, probably some of the most stressful interactions that you can have. Two armed, you know, entities, you know, and like at the end of the day, if it turns on, it's only one person that comes out of that competition as the winner. But you know, at the end of the day, especially if you outnumber them and you know from a capability wise, unless I had a stoppage for them or a fucking rifle, like fucking, which could technically happen, I suppose, like chance of him fucking coming out victorious, 0.
Yeah.
But that's even more reason why I don't want to do it unless you have to. You know what I mean? That puts more onus on you. And, you know, there's also the other side of it, which never influenced what I did on the ground. But I can see it influencing a lot of less trained people, you know, in uniform now. There's like the just amount of, what's the word for it? You know, oh man, I've had a mental blank. It's like where it's the incident is replayed 1 billion times by Monday morning quarterbacks. You know, they dissect everything and challenge every decision that was made. And it was like, fuck, man, I made those decisions under this high stress, or, you know, they made those decisions under those high stress conditions in seconds. You're fucking pulling it apart over a 12-month period?
Yeah.
No shit, Sherlock. Like, fuck, you're going to find some holes in... But, you know, I think... I would hope that it doesn't impact people's life-saving skills, you know, where they think... where that level of concern about what happens next if I have to shoot someone is impeding their shooting. Because that means that's taking over where normal, really high-level training should take over. It's like another... like highly destructive to what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and at the end of the day, like you said, it's you're doing it for other humans. You're doing it for humanity.
Yeah.
And like, yes, you know, it's cool to fucking smash some dudes, but at the end of the day, you're doing it to protect some people. And who wants to have that dude on their conscience for the rest of their life? You know what I mean? Some fucking dad down out on his luck. You know, probably never been in a fight in his life, and then all of a sudden finds himself the centre of attention at a fucking siege, and TOU, you know, got 5.56 pointed at his face. I mean, yeah, you could have easily fucking very justified just whacked that dude. I had a shotty bam. Yeah, no, it's fucking good, man. That's
unfortunately, a lot of those jobs turn up with walking in there, and they'd, you know, fucking a lot of the time it was a shotgun because they're a pretty predominant weapon. And then you guys got a fucking ceiling full of bruschetta or whatever, you know. It's you know, so that's not good either. Because you know that, like, then you walk in there and you go, fuck, you know, dude's life was fucking normal 4 months ago. Now I'm in his lounge room and he's fucking, apart from the top of his bottom lip, there's nothing there, you know, gone.
Yeah.
It's horrendous.
Yeah, and that, you know, you would have watched that Broken Fathers podcast, Jared Purcell.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just the stuff he's always talking about, man, you know, like, I mean, he gets a lot of cops on there on his show, but and that's something else that I think I would struggle with if I was ever a cop, mate. You know, I've got a bunch of mates that have done those sort of jobs, you know, walking on some dude swinging from a rope that's just like them.
Oh, yeah. That was the first dead person I saw, was a dude hung.
Yeah.
And my, like, it was literally pretty much my first shift, and a deceased call came out. And he goes, oh, we're going to have a look at that. And it was purely so I could have a look, you know, just see my first dead body. And we walked in, and this dude had just done all his renos in his kitchen area, and it sort of, obviously, you know, it was in Leichhardt, so they were expanding the back of the house. And those joints are now, yeah, they're multi-million-dollar homes, all of them now, but he'd put in all this footing work, and I'm talking like he had to dig up his floor, so, and he's still got that working kitchen. And it was immaculately done, right? And it's 600 mil. I still remember the footings going. And the cop was with, he goes, man, why the fuck would you kill yourself after doing this? I would have killed myself beforehand, so I didn't have to do that shit. And I was like, there's actually logic in what he was saying, but it's also showing how detached he is, you know, like fucking.
Yeah.
And then he goes, where is he anyway? And then he was actually hanging right next to my sergeant's fucking shoulder. And he just didn't see him. He was just like someone was standing in the room right there.
Oh,
and he turned and he goes, holy fuck. It was like literally fucking half a foot away from him. He just didn't see him as he come in there. And it's not like there's no empathy there, you know. It's like that person's gone now. So it's a lot of the dark humour is purely around, you know, the cops protecting themselves mentally, you know, by having a bit of a joke about shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's definitely not making fun of someone and they're dead or anything like that. It's very much a protective measure so that cops don't fucking take it too serious, you know.
Yeah. I can know you, because you obviously were mates with Pete Cave.
Yeah, Cave, yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck,
I remember
his
the 7th of Feb.
It's only the other day.
It's 11th, yeah, it's fucking Saturday, yeah. I think it was because I was still in the unit. I think it was a Monday when they found him, and the couple of guys that found him that were mates of mine, they said, yeah, the cops were, you know, running that sort of mentality, and I think in front of the guys though, and then they were like, hey man, can you fucking save that till later? Like, I know you're gonna.
Oh yeah, no,
but
like,
save it till later, man.
There's definitely a time and place for the dark humour. It can never be where family can hear it. You know, that's the golden rule, you know, sort of thing. So, you know, it should be in the ultimate fucking professional shenanigans later, you know. And there's been some pretty funny shenanigan stories, you know, body parts over the years. And, hey, you need a hand? You know, like, is this our guy? No, he was 6'2". Oh, what about now? You know, oh yeah, no, that's him. You know, those sort of humour that's been floating around in the police for a long time, but it's got to be, yeah, it can't be around. And Capey, you know, rest his soul. I still can't believe that happened.
Yeah, that was a strange one, man. Like, I remember because that's about the same time, and I was thinking about fucking bit of myself, and it was him and Ian Turner. They both offed themselves around about that time, and I just remember like how harshly I judged those guys for that. And then later on, found myself in the same situation, and then I was like, "Oh fuck, man, I kind of feel fucking bad about that," you know, like, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's it's a hard one to understand, man, because it's like it's like part of it I understand, the other part of it's like fuck, work so hard not to die, you know, when you're doing your job or you know just fucking day to day really, that. Fuck, it must be fucked where you get to a point where you just go, you know, I need to fucking check out. It happens, unfortunately.
Yeah, I remember, like, not to fucking go on a rabbit warren here, but I remember when I was trying to do it, I was like, I actually don't want to do this. I actually don't want to do it. I just want this fucking shitty thing that I'm going through to stop. Yeah,
it's just too much. It's like too much painful stimulation. I think that's people just go, man, I just can't fucking deal with this. And it's like, then, because they can't deal, then they can't deal with anything, Can't even have a appropriate, relationship with your missus or people close to you because it gets that fucking bad. And then that is part of the implosion process, I think. So it's like, that's fucking easy to say from a distance, but it's just like you can't shut yourself away. It's like it doesn't mean you open yourself up either. It's just like pick a couple of trusted people and fucking confide in them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that confiding process, I reckon, it's like, it bleeds out some of the fucking poison.
Oh, 100%, man.
As soon as you share that, it's like fucking takes a bit of load off.
Yeah. Man, I'm going to see if I can just pause this thing and we can take a break. Obviously, it's only got the stop option. It doesn't have a pause option. Let me see if I can... Alrighty, guys, welcome back. So, Samson and I just had a little piss break, little food break. Can't just sit here talking for fucking 2 hours and 40 minutes with no breaks, people.
Exactly.
And the more astute of you watching, even those of you who are listening, maybe you can see or hear that I'm wearing a new shirt. I just got it recently. There you go, for the camera. 90% of cunts are listening to this and they're just like, yeah, I don't care.
Oh, yeah.
In their car or whatever.
And if you want to get bigger, just shrink it.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't worry about going to the gym. Just shrink your shirt. It works. It's far easier.
Don't train, 100%. So, mate, obviously we were talking about TAU stuff, hit on the bit of breaching and whatnot. You were equal first for the first breach, PDGs Australia. Or maybe second by a couple of hours.
Yeah, second, no prizes for second.
Nah. Unless you can get the number one dude on this podcast, you're the one holding the prize, man.
Yeah, exactly. I can turn you his direction.
But, mate, you were a breacher and a sniper. Touch on the sniping stuff a bit because that is so different in terms of a role, sniping and breaching. Yeah,
and then realistically, especially, towards the latter, towards the latter part of my TOU, my time at the TOU, I think I got into that once I got qualified. I think I was it was like my sniper course maybe, it's going back. Could be like 2003 or 4, So it was pretty early in my career. So I was doing it for a fair while when I was in the TOU. And then obviously once I went to the Feds, my primary role within the SRG, the ORG it was called in those days, SRG now. Actually, I think it's changed the name again. Because all the snipers are also, obviously operators first, and then that becomes another skill set that you might specialise in. But, push come to shove, you're still doing all your vehicle everything everyone else is doing in the unit. But yeah, that's probably where the epic load of my passion and for developing capability sort of was in that space, you know what I mean? And I was just lucky enough to be around some very intelligent guys that were sort of, my mentors in that space. They were my instructors when I did my first, basic sniper course. And then through the whole evolution, incredible dudes, extremely passionate about that, that art, which is sniping. And it's a bit of a brotherhood too, like worldwide. Once you've got that credential, it's sort of, if you come across anyone else that's in that sort of field, it's an instant, everyone comes together. It's, and it doesn't really matter as long as you're a qualified, a legitimately qualified full-time sniper or, have that, that history. Yeah, it's just, it's a very eclectic little group of dudes, everyone's, depending on what you do in your tactical world, that was, that was my sort of brotherhood, I suppose, external to policing as one on its own.
Yeah.
But it was incredible because I was lucky enough from the perspective that I got to see where sniping was at before we had a exponential, leap forward in capability. So I'm so grateful I was around, before that transition occurred, and then to be able to participate in the transition from, old school sniper capability to, sniping, which incorporated, specialised software and, kestrel weather stations and things like that capture all your atmospherics and give you all the information you really need to have replication in shooting. So it was incredible, So as per commentary earlier on in this catch up with you, mate, the most of our tactics, weapons, platforms, everything, the methodologies, the training methodologies from it came from the military, which you would not be surprised by. Makes sense, right? Obviously, we have to transition some aspects which would be highly suitable to military operations, but not so much for law enforcement, in terms of, like your snipers might get out there and, crump a few dudes. If you can get the body, for sensitive site exploitation, fantastic. It's too risky, nah, you confirm the kill. And, that's an effective outcome. Whereas for us, it's like, it's a last resort. For us getting used, it's like first and last resort. If something requires us to interact, then it's a no-brainer. But like if I had to kill someone in my role in law enforcement as a sniper, like something's gone wrong with our operation. Sometimes operations you can't contain the behaviour of who you're targeting. But you can still obviously, okay, what led up to that? And we tried it. That's what we'd focus on, make sure, everything that we did was legit and nothing could have stopped the outcome from occurring, right? For it to be a success. Otherwise, it's a fail. You know what I mean? So there's two competing mindsets there. Same delivery, same rifle systems, different environments and different, definitely different levels of scrutiny. Immediate in scrutiny too, where people can just walk over to where you were seated. You can show them your firing position. You can't do that out in Afghan, and nor should you be required to. You know what I mean? There's a little bit of deconfliction there in terms of how you employ the capability. But once again. Just indebted to military primarily for not only insight and some awesome dudes, experienced dudes assisting us with capability development, but, just purely even just access to military ranges and, which, as surpassed most of especially back then, most police agencies had literally sweet FA when it came to, room combat, places dedicated to live fire or even simulation-based room combat and sniping activities. We really relied on the military for access to training venues. We spent a lot of time out at farms and shit like that, because it allowed us to go, employ all the different types of shoots we needed to do, and then also reach, try and push the boundaries of how far we could engage people. Because the standoff is good. Because most what people don't understand is like most of the job of a sniper is like actually pulling in surveillance information and their day-to-day life activities and just so that then we can use that information, or even just like scoping out how the building's constructed, door systems, windows, sending ICATs back to other people that maybe the breaching teams, hey, Samps, what's the door like on the white side? You know what I mean? And they'll go, well, yeah, the front door's fucked, man. You got, it looks like solid core, and it's got, bars. It's too hard to get in really quickly.
Yeah,
so they'll just give them it. Yeah. What can I say?
You can't.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of appraisal work in there as well, and intelligence gathering, and especially from what I was doing in law enforcement, that was the primacy of it. you could deliver lethality from a distance, but also you just got unbelievable observation and you just got that whole area wrapped up with it. It might be you might have undercover cops, going to buy, drugs or weapons or something, depending on what type of job it was. So you're protecting someone who's pretending to be a fucking criminal. You know what I mean? Like, then that adds another level of complexity, because now you've got good guys looking like shitbags and mixing with shitbags. You know what I mean?
So your situational awareness, the attention you pay to orders, intel,
it's
briefs,
complex.
Has to be like, above reproach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in early days, we had good equipment for those early days, but I still remember the day we went out to a range with, we had a couple of commandos with us, and a few other people who were just looking at, this is the very early days where we were sort of looking at software. So I remember going to this, once it was like a rural area, we'd actually organised where the best place for, we're testing out a few different rifles and the PDA systems, the software. And so some dudes came out from the US and they had a Shaytech 408 and, HS Precision 338 and some other 308. So, the 308 we were running at the time, but we didn't have 338 and we definitely didn't have 408. Later times we had 50 cal and 338, 308, Accurized 223, whatever. But, it was unbelievable to see, what a 338 round was capable of doing, both penetration and just, fucking, getting out there at distance and just holding accuracy, and amazing BCs comparative to like regular 7.62s and everything. And then the 408, that's the first time I really fired a fucking cannon, and if you guys who run around with 50s all the time, but back in those days I hadn't shot a 50 at that point. So that was the biggest caliber and I was just like, man, this is the best. Like, why would you not want to be a sniper? But and I don't know if you've seen a 408 Shaytech round.
No, never.
But if you that ammunition is like a personal self-defense weapon all by itself. If you've got that round, that sharp brass turned projectile, which is like almost needlepoint sharp, compared to a 50 BMG or something like that. It's got that nice. Mate, you could stab someone to death with that fucking projectile, no problem whatsoever.
Keep it in a holster.
Yeah. And that was the first time I'd seen. I was watching him set up, and then I saw him get a laser temperature gauge out and check the temperature of his round before he put it in the chamber. He'd laser the barrel, and he was going, "What are you doing? Talk us through that." And then he was telling us the implications around temperature and burn rate of powder burn rates.
Was that, there's a name for that, it's all ballistic coefficients or something, or barrel harmonics and all that crazy stuff, yeah? Yeah.
And then, so he was like, and I was like, fuck. So he was talking about stuff we'd literally never talked about. So imagine talking to someone about something which is 100% super essential with your tradecraft and you'd never heard about it. It's like fucking, and not many snipers around the world at that point had. It was, they sort of predated, like commandos were there for a reason too. They wanted to look at it because they didn't have that technology either.
Who were the US guys? Were they cops or special forces?
No, they're ex-military. I can't remember who it was. Like, I'd be lying if I told you, but it was obviously SF of some description for that, an ex-SF sniper, and obviously he was representing certain technologies as well.
Oh, gotcha, yeah.
So he was out, he was doing commercial work. So. But still running these high-end sniper programs back in the US as well. But, we're just blown away at what we saw. And it was just like from that moment on, myself and another couple of key guys were just like, it was our passion project of passion projects. So we fought super hard to get 338, and above, and then just understand every aspect of the technical side of what was... When that round left our weapon, we want to know understand the science behind what's deviating it between where you want it to go and where it actually lands. It was like fucking the most interesting period, man. And it's literally we went from probably having if I was being realistic, we had a 600 metre operational limit to our shooting.
Yeah.
It's 308. And keep in mind,
which is a fair
you
bit
could still
further
hit
cost.
something further than that, but you know, from a law enforcement perspective, it's like you need to almost guarantee. And I don't think we were in the guarantee boat back then at that range. Not if people are moving, because you know at the end of the day, shooting a target's one thing, but people shifting around or they're got a hostage or something. Fuck, man. Good luck if you're confident shooting at 600-metre hostage shot.
I don't think that's ever been done.
So yeah, it was just this. You know, once you realise that you don't know as much as you thought you did, it's like you don't beat yourself up because you know you with what information and training you had at your disposal, we've pushed the envelope, and now we've got this extra information. Now, obviously, that envelope's fucking. We're going to breach that way. You know, but when I talk breach it, it's like a 600-metre confident hit distance developed into. You could do the same over. You know, depending on what platform you're on, over 2Ks. The replication of that. You know, once again, is it an operationally contexted round? No, you can sit there and go, well, I've delivered a round. It's hit a fridge at 2.4. You know, some people in your unit have, you know, hit humans at that range. But to do that is like, fuck, man. It's like, that's hard work. Because there's so much time, even for a round, 10-second fucking travel time, man.
Yeah.
And fucking almost make a brew.
A lot can happen in 10 seconds, man. Yeah.
So yeah, it was super interesting, man. So that was a focus point of mine towards the end of my time in the TOU. And then when I went to the Feds, that was a primacy, you know. So we got some significant development when I was in a TOU, along with Glenn Roberts from TRG. He was like literally lost his mind, turned into a professor on long range shooting, you know. And he was working with SASR and saying when he was developing, you know, aspects of, you know, the science behind it, he was sharing it with them as well. So, yeah, it was an epic time. And just to be able to pull the trigger and see a round hit something at the first time I hit something at 1.5 kilometres and it hit first time, I was like, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? I won't tell you what it was. It wasn't a human, but it was living. But
Was.
Yeah. And I just couldn't believe it, man. It's like, fuck, are you serious?
Yeah.
So I was hook, line and sinker. So, yeah, man, it was a transition period. It's like for that skill set. And, you know, I'm just glad I was there before it because you really got to appreciate it afterwards, you know.
To see the not the deficit rather, but the skills gap and then the jump from like, say, you know, quote unquote conventional sniping to the new modern version, I guess. Yeah. And
then the next thing we sort of, you know, so the long range stuff, like if my guys and my team, we get out to a range. When I was in the Feds, man, nearly every day on a range. You know, we weren't doing stuff. And a couple of times I'd say to the boys, hey, when was the last time you shot at 100 metres like a mover? Well, fuck off. Like, why would we do that? It's boring as shit. And I go, because that's probably like a high fucking chance that's what we're going to be doing, you know, depending on where we are. If we're overseas, maybe not. But anyway, because I think the old methodology in law enforcement from the sniper, the average kill distance was about 76 kilometres. 76 kilometres. That's a good 155.
Some sort of fucking
No, 155, thanks. Maybe, 76 metres, you know. So...
Because you're constrained a lot by the environment you're in. Yeah. It's urban or
if you've got it contained. You know,
or a fucking farm or something, you know what I mean? Yeah.
And you want to maximise your capability as well. So you can get closer. Like, man, it's like shooting fish in a barrel.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's still complexities for close-up shooting that you need to train, you know. So, but at the end of the day, they were pushing the barrow so much. It's like, man, it's like they'd be at the 1,000-metre mark all the time, or they'd be at 700 or 800, just, you know, putting pressure on each other to fucking get quicker, you know, shot release. But it wasn't even, man, and that's with even semi-automatic 7.62 platforms. Man, you could just fucking zero shit at that distance now. It's easy. Not even using your 338s, you're going to take you out to the next level, add, you know, 600-800 metres. So yeah, super interesting. Just fucking best time, man. Like,
you're obviously still passionate about it.
Yeah.
Do you still do that stuff? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's one of them things, right? You don't go that far down the rabbit warren and not continue after service, or at least have a fucking vested interest in what the capability's doing now.
Yeah, and the capability hasn't shifted much because the exponential shift that we saw, in that transition period from old school to new, using the introduction of really high quality software, because we sort of, we moved through maybe 3 different software systems before we settled in on applied ballistics as pretty much being the industry standard. And applied ballistics is, they've got partnerships with Kestrel, so they've got the Kestrel weather stations now, the Bluetooth to your phone, it's got the app on it, and it's doing everything. So it's like, whereas it used to be, you'd have your like a Palm Pilot, the old school shit, and then you'd have another weather system because you obviously needed temperature and barometric pressure and all that sort of shit. Whereas now it's just sort of all
in the one system,
all done, and actually straight to your scope, and with some systems now and bino systems and spotting scopes. So it was fucking good, man. And once we sort of the amount of time that I put into that is like incredible, and all the dudes that I was working with, if you're in that in the cybers, you kind of needed to be a bit of a passionate fucking operator in that space.
Yeah. It's not a lazy profession. None of that stuff is, but some things require a bit more investment.
Well, yeah, when you think about it, and ask any of the snipers that come out of your unit, it's 99% fucking ass pain operationally. It's just fucking arduous carrying all that shit. Then you have the amount of energy you expend trying to find a fucking an awesome OP or your firing position and setting it up so that fucking all your foreground depth, all your concealment sort of aspects are nailed, because your life might depend on that.
And mostly at night too. And when the sun comes up.
Sun comes up, you go, fuck, this looks like a Taj Mahal. Now it's fucking absolutely pus buckets. You've got to rebuild the whole thing. It was like, but it was rewarding, because it was literally, I think people realise that most of it's just fucking mad, hard grit. You just got to get into positions. You've got to do it without getting pinged. So there's a lot of pressure on you, because if you get pinged, the fucking job's over. And then people going, you're a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? So,
and like you said, that's you are the eyes and ears. A lot of that's the situational awareness that you're providing to maybe the assault teams or the cordon or whatever it is. Yeah.
And, if everything, say you did have your atypical counter-terrorism exercise that you used to put on, remember? And there's 15 terrorists and everything. The snipers are going to kill most of them. You know what I mean? Because if anyone's outside, fucking they're all getting identified and divvied up, and there might be 2 shooters on each fucking bad guy. They're going to fucking die. So it's actually a really important role to protect your mates going in through whatever methodology, if they're fucking getting heloed in or vehicle or on foot or on a boat, swim up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just looking after your buddies.
It's interesting because what you're talking about there is you've got to, some capabilities you've got to realise that you're not the main effort.
Yeah.
But what you do is so crucial to the main effort. It's like the army, right? The main effort is, believe it or not, it's the infantry.
Yeah.
That they're there to fight the enemy, right? And whatever happens after that is sort of secondary, but the main effort is the infantry. Even special forces kind of are supporting the infantry. You got to, maybe take out some fucking high value targets or some disruption ops over here. So infantry can do whatever. I mean, it's not always the case, but yeah, you're right. Even with snipers, for example, what you do is so essential to the assault, for example, which is the main effort. Yeah,
100%. And some dudes be going the assaulters or something. They know. So say you're doing not even on a live job. You're just doing a national exercise or something where combined, 2 commandos got theirs, lots of targets, and they've sort of thrown us a bone from interoperability aspect, but and also so everyone can test capabilities, right?
Yeah.
The boys be going, oh, it's sucked in. You'd be out there for fucking 16 hours. We'll be over here having coffees. And I said, yeah, but you'll be having coffees fucking doing nothing. We're actually fucking putting our fucking skills into action. And we're actually like integral to what you're going to be doing next. You know, so, but then on operations, it was like, I loved it because you were integral from minute one, you know, getting eyes on, you know, and being able to feed back information. They couldn't make decisions without it. It was super critical. So it was like, you always felt like you were a high contributor, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But we weren't doing it for that reason. It was just, that was good. So you always felt employed properly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So what about, how did that change your jobs, TOU, and then obviously was sniping the last thing you did in TOU before you left?
Yeah, I was doing it concurrent with a few, like, breaching.
Yeah.
But it was pretty much my, you know, as you'd expect, it's a skill set that requires a fair bit of time and effort. So they didn't have full-time snipers there. They just had snipers, qualified snipers, you know, appropriately qualified, you know, out training all the time as an additional skill to all the ones that the boys are doing, because we had to do that as well.
Yeah.
Maintain that, because, you know, there was every chance it would be doing the same role as, you know, one of the boys who wasn't a sniper on a job. But it was good. It was just kept me, and because there was so much, you just keep elevating the capability, you know, massively during that transition period, but then just little nuances, you know. So, you know, one of my offsiders now is like just a full. He's still doing it operationally, and he's just a full weapon when it comes to. So the long range stuff, you know, he knows I know, but like he's surpassed my knowledge on defeating the effects of wind, because wind's one thing. It doesn't matter what you can put it in your PDA. You could have 6, depending how far you're shooting, you could have 3 different wind activities going between you and the target. So it's like, It's our worst nightmare. Now, it's always been an enemy of snipers is fucking wind, you know what I mean? So he's just had some mad fucking exposures with like Todd Hodnett in the US around strategies, you know, so how to detect the wind value much more accurately than what we're used to without any technology at the target end. Obviously, it's too hard. You can't do that. It's good to see. Like, obviously, once some of the technical stuff had sort of hit a little bit of a technical limit, then the guys like, you know, I won't say his name. They're obviously just looking at, okay, what else do we need to improve out of sight with the shooting? Okay, wind, you know. So then there's some really, really, really fucking incredible fucking techniques around it now. And I'm going to spend a bit of time with him, hopefully early this year, sort of learning a few of those. So, you know, it's a constant learning evolution skill set, that one.
Yeah.
And the other thing I sort of introduced with another fellow, you know, once we got to the feds, we wanted to, we just changed the way in which we ran sniper training courses as well. So we still employed the same old methodologies, you know, that we used to, without saying too much, you know, publicly, but, you know, basically the old, you know, the live fire stalks and things like that. And we just revamped that so that it reflected reality-based training methodologies, you know. So it put guys under a lot of pressure and had to make decision-making. And we also, we didn't want to create dudes that just wanted to hide in a little, you know, with a nice little uniquely small field of view, because what we found, if you teach that, the way that some of the criminal elements were working, you know, even if someone was doing like a remote weapons purchase or, you know, so they need to get the actual transaction to occur, so you get the maximum amount of evidence on them. Man, meet you here, so everyone sets up on it, and then they go last second move even 400 metres away in some area. That's enough to fuck everyone, you know what I mean? And that's like anxiety central. Fuck, you know, got to shift in this hasty position. So it was like, you know, some of the real in-depth methodologies we were teaching were sort of, we found were sort of making them risk averse, you know, in terms of getting, but, you know, so we tried to introduce, or we didn't try, we introduced, you know, reality-based training sort of activities that, you know, gave them the confidence that, listen, that you know how to do that. If you're going up on another trained sniper who's sitting in the field looking through binos all for 10 hours straight. Like, fuck, when do you actually come across that on a police job? You might come across it in your world. So if that's not occurring, like, you can be a little bit more bold. You can be a little more fluid with what you're doing, and you know what I mean? So we just trained our guys to be like way more aggressive, you know, with some of their moves. And, you know, old mate's over it. I've got eyes on old mate. There's no fucking way you can see where you are. So, you know, a dude might run across fucking some, you know, where it would have taken him 4 hours to fucking circumnavigate.
To leopard crawl or something,
Yeah. And I don't see mate running across the fucking, you know, because you never know what devices they might have, but it just allowed you to speed that up with confidence and professionally, so you could sort of get the outcome without, you know, compromising the activity or whatever. But that was really good too.
And you did this on jobs with TAU? You started to incorporate this on actual jobs?
No, by that stage I was in the feds, and that's where we sort of detected a little bit of, you know, that unwillingness to take like risk, and I'm not talking about life and death risk, I'm just like compromise risk, because, you know, it's obviously the biggest sin if you get compromised.
Yeah.
You fucked the job, bro. And, you know, old mate gets away or whatever, but it was overseas that we sort of noticed it, and then we just jumped straight on it with some training programs. And I don't know if it's still a methodology that because when I left, I sort of took it with me a little bit, that type of thought process, but we introduced it over in Middle East to a high success as well. Yeah,
and so obviously you've gone to the feds a bit later on to the tactical dudes, right?
Yeah.
But in between then you've gone contracting, and we mentioned Pete Case before. That's what I'm
yeah.
assuming.
That's where I first met him.
Yeah. Mate, I'm pretty sure you would have met my father-in-law, man. He knew Pete as well, and they were at like Numinia or somewhere together.
Oh yeah, probably did.
Dave Nielsen is his
name. Yeah. I know Dave. Yeah.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
but really well.
But yeah, man. So the left TAU, and like you said, you probably left because maybe you're just replicating jobs over and over again. Got a bit not stale, but maybe you wanted to do a bit more, do something different, change environment.
I don't think I would have left on it unless there was something else to go to, which was more attractive. And that's what the Iraq thing was. It was like, it's an opportunity to go and work in a non-permissive environment, and then to see how your skills and how you performed over there. You know what I mean? Because as you know, even just being there is different to being in a permissive environment. It's like anyone, anytime can become a casualty or, and then, you know, no, but we weren't doing what you were doing in Iraq. You know, we were, you know, primarily training, and there's a PSD aspect to, you know, moving people around and providing armed transport between, for VIPs, whoever it was, the client was. But it was just fantastic, man. It was like and you cannot replicate that anywhere. I don't care how much your reality-based training programs, you know, simulate fucking, you know, at the end of the day, when you're doing reality-based training, you still know that you're going to go home for dinner. You know what I mean? So
even just throwing in the threat of IEDs is a fucking game changer, hey? Yeah.
And I didn't really notice it was you carrying any load, like, you know, because I was enjoying myself. It was like like, this is fucking awesome. And it was just it was exciting. Of course, you know, exciting times come to a quick end if something dramatic happens and maybe you lose some of your mates or something, you know, like that would definitely steal some of the fun out when reality of war kicks in. But, you know, yeah, it was I enjoyed it, man. It was like you never felt so alive when you're in an environment where, you know, life is, you know, could easily be taken away.
Yeah.
So it was really, but when I got to Dubai, the first time I've been in country 4 months straight. So it was the longest time I'd never deployed anywhere for that period of time either, you know. So that was a shift with the kids at home.
Oh yeah.
Young kids. When I got to Dubai on the way out, it's like, oof, you know, I didn't realise I was carrying a certain level of, well, I wouldn't call it anxiety, but it's like you're sort of, you know,
there's level of tension.
Your tension and situational awareness, fucking tracking everything all the time, looking for any nuance, you know. I noticed that. when I got there, and I go, oh, man, I feel super relaxed.
Like it just
sort of. So then it's a way to sort of semi-experience what some of your lads have been through. Like I said, you can't replicate it. It's just like, you got to be there. You got to be immersed.
Any like standout jobs doing contracting? Close misses, anything like that?
I think like we lost a couple of dudes off our contract, a couple of really close mates. Actually,
really?
a Queenslander two Queenslanders up here actually, JJ and Brendan Hurst. So he's and literally spoke to Hursty. Well, I went home on leave, and I wasn't planning on going back to that contract because the way that contract was, it had shifted, and the company we were working for was just cutting like security corners to save money. So they were doing, they do these, when it comes to staff, like Rockall, staff movements for leave, it was like, movements are always every Tuesday and Thursday. It's like, dude, who the fuck does that? It's like, fuck. So there was a few of us sort of going, man, if they're not going to change that, because it would, you can imagine it was cost them more with airfares, because they wanted to have everything teed up in advance. So it just came down to money, and it's like the minute money is more important than life, it's like you don't want to be in that contract anymore. But it was pretty lucky. I mean, we're like, you get mortared, and there's a lot of activities because when the first part of that contract, I was in North Baghdad, so it was only a few k's away from Sada City, and there was a lot of activity there, man. Not always directed like at us, but we were next door to a military commando unit, which was mentored by US forces. Sometimes you wake up in the night and you hear the brrr, you really could tell it was like a PKM or something like that, real fast rate of fire. And then I'd go to, I think, fuck, how far away was that? And I knew in my building there's all fucking other dudes on our contract going, fuck, waiting for the next thing. It's not right outside your building, it's not that far away. And then I'd hear a fucking dun 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 dun, clearly a belt-fed 50 cal. And we knew the only people with those were the Yanks. So that would kick off, and then there'd be no noise again for So you'd be going, back to sleep. You know what I mean? Which is weird, right? Because you're like, fuck, do I need to stand too? And so you're waiting to see if anything escalates. Because even something protracted, we'd all stand to just in case it escalated and sort of shifted our direction, or it's part of a much bigger sort of CAC profile. But
because you'd be part of the base defence plan as well, surely.
Yeah, and that place, man, it was like we're in the red zone, proper red zone.
What year was this?
So the security for our compound was Iraqis.
Yeah.
We went on a coalition base.
Yeah.
It was like we're on it was actually a police special commandos base, but operated by them, secured by them. And then we just locked down our floors with our own Iraqi, protection teams. They're just protecting our areas for us. Mm. But
which to people listening, maybe that might sound normal. Oh, you're in Iraq, Iraqi base, Iraqi security, but that's not necessarily a good thing. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the time you don't know the allegiances of who they are. Sometimes they're not super competent, as you can imagine.
Oh, no.
Like being on a base that's not a US military base is, I've never done it. All the bases I was on were all, big US military bases, Al Assad and Baghdad and whatever. But, man, it's surprisingly a hairy thing, hey?
Yeah. You're, and then we took precautions as well, because like you're saying, as much as you trust them, at the end of the day, if like a terrorist network got hold of some of their family and said, "You'll do this, otherwise we're going to fucking execute them,"
fucking do.
Of course, like I would if I was them. You know what I mean? Like, be going, these fuckers is here making money in our country. They don't give a fuck. Are they worth my family? You know what I mean? So yeah, that was probably the real risk. Yeah, and no doubt some of them were no good and passing on information and all that sort of stuff as well. We had a VBID out the front of our joint, was targeting our boys doing a move to the green zone for those guys who are going to fly back to. We're just swapping out, staff at that location for a leave, and someone had told the fucking bad guys that that was going to be occurring on that day, and then as it turns out, we were using these South African V-hull Reavers or whatever they were called, which, like a Bushmaster, but like an older South African variant.
Yeah, yeah. My stepdad, Dave was telling me about this.
Yeah. Anyway, there was some component that fucked up, and they said, they got onto the boys and said, "Oh, come on, we'll be able to. We can't pick you up on the normal timings because the armoured vehicle's got a fucking issue, so it's an engine issue or something, which we will fix today. We could send out a couple of armoured Land Cruisers to grab you, but they're off doing tasks, and then anyway, someone with half a brain's going, listen, just pick us up in the morning, take us directly to the airport, and we'll miss, because it was a bit of a treat going into the green zone when you're living in the red zone, because you go hit the US DFAT and...
fucking McDonald's or whatever.
Yeah. Just pig out on all the shit you haven't had. Yeah. Fuck, I haven't had a cake for fucking 4 years. So
Cake?
No, you know what I mean. It's like, do you go in the DFAT? There's like 500 different types of cake. It's like, man, no wonder everyone's a fat fuck. Look at all the cakes in here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm just like, you know what? We'll just forgo that, this on this trip out. Just we're not going to risk lives, so we're going to... and have fucking Maccas, you know what I mean?
Have another couple of fucking custom kebabs. Yeah.
And then as a result of that, they got deferred to the next day, and bad guys are waiting for us to leave, and our guys to leave, and went way past the period of time, and obviously they got this fucking shitty car out the front of our facility, so they just waited for our commandos to go out. A lot of those dudes would leave the base and go to localised homes. They just waited till they had enough out the front, just fucking let it go.
Shit. Crumped them.
Yeah, killed, 30 people or something, but...
fucking hell. Did you guys get out?
Oh, it just shattered a lot of windows in our facility. Obviously it did damage, but none of the boys were injured.
Did
it's
you
just
go on?
to show you can just... That's the sort of... level of, it's got nothing to do with how tactically proficient you are, Well, actually it did in that point, because someone made they had enough common sense to go, fuck it, let's just not go to the green zone today. We'll just pick us up tomorrow and pick us up in the VL. So yeah, but it just showed that sometimes luck was the only factor. So that did my head in, especially IEDs. So I'd imagine this would be the same with any of your guys that were doing that type of work, but just even in operating in an environment chock-a-block full of IEDs, it's just unless you're in the engineers or you had a fucking X-ray eyes, man, you're just fucking, it's just a matter of when.
Yeah.
And at their choosing, you know what I mean? If it was if you come up against armed people and it's okay, shootout time, we're going to fucking beat you because we're better than you are. But a fucking bomb going off, it's fucking just removes all speciality and proficiency, experience, everything. Everything just gets fucking vaporised.
Or you're reliant on the technology that you don't necessarily, you can't use it to impact. It just does its thing, and you can trust it. But then I remember IEDs was the only thing I was ever concerned about. I didn't.
They're hard to survive. They're fucking, literally, man, you're going to get maimed. You're never going to be the same person physically again if you survive. And
that's the only thing.
Fucking horrifying, man.
I had this, when I was in Afghan, this thing in my head that I would die for some reason. And I was semi-hoping for it, if that makes sense. You go out as a hero, all that type of shit, right? But I was a bit I just don't want to get blown up and have my fucking... I had this weird idea that if I was going to get blown up, my hip would get blown up, and you can't tourniquet a fucking hip, or my arm would get ripped off at the shoulder, and then the brachial was gone, and you can't tourniquet. That was in my head. I was like, if I'm going to get IED'd and blown up, it's going to blow my hip off or blow my shoulder off, and I'm going to bleed out, and I'm going to be alive when that's happening. That was my only concern. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're walking around. What the fuck are you going to do? You're going to not go on patrol. It's the only option really.
And the problem was the IED of the day then was EFBs. And so, you're like Bushmaster, it's incredible how many lives that saved from buried ordnance, because of the V-hole, technology. But at the end of the day, those fucking AFBs go...
through it.
That Reaver I was talking about got hit and killed JJ and Hursty. And basically, the shot pattern on the entry point of the side of the vehicle where it hit, and it hit about chest height, going slightly upward on the right-hand side of the vehicle, left-hand side of the vehicle, and then travelled through the vehicle, and then so as it penetrated the first skin, it fucking then travelled directly through JJ's chest. So basically, imagine a dinner plate size fucking hole, basically, just emerged out of his body, fucking straight off fucking Predator or something in the movie.
Just thinking.
And then just fragged everyone in there too, bone fragments and fucking bits of spalling. But then the rest of the pattern went straight through, and then the trajectory had its sort of head height, and then it hit fucking Hursty directly in the face and decapitated him, went straight out the side of that vehicle, and the shot pattern from entry to exit didn't change.
Fucking hell.
So that molten fucking slug has gone through and hasn't deviated at all. Fucking still doing 30,000 feet per second. And so it's doing 10 times what my fucking 338 used to do. You know what I mean? In feet per second. And it's probably weighs 8, 12 kilos. It's fucking incredible, man. So straight through both sides of the vehicle. And that team had just been IED'd about fucking half an hour earlier, which blew the back fucking axle off their armoured Land Cruiser. So they had to leave that in situ. And then JJ, who got killed, who got his chest blown out, was arguing with another dude, ex-UK Royal Marine, that was in our working for us, because he was sitting in his seat, when they cross-loaded vehicles. And we were good.
Yeah, just marking something.
So because they had to cross-load that vehicle because we're leaving one. So, all the gear, all the people out of that now fucked up Land Cruiser are now in the Reaver. And then so JJ's going, sorry, dude, look here, you're sitting on the floor. Come and sit here. I've kicked... Dude. And you're just been blown up, man. You deserve to have a comfy seat, so fucking chill out. Oof. And then bonk, dead.
Yeah.
Got kids at home, 3 daughters.
Shit.
And then so the guy was sitting on the floor arguing and wouldn't swap back to his seat. Then it had to live with that. You know what I mean? It's like there's all these fucking different layers, but so you knew you may as well just getting around in a fucking paper mache bag, man. Because nothing's stopping that shit from going through. We're in this massively heavy armoured fucking thing. Stop all the other, everything up to 50 cal probably. And yet that shit went through like fucking hot knife and butter. Yeah. You realise, fuck, nothing's going to fucking stop. If you get pinged properly, you're fucking dead. You know what I mean? So it was removing people's power and, because we feel pretty confident. You're around other confident dudes, well-trained. Everyone knows what to do when something goes wrong. But then not shit like that.
Yeah.
There is no antidote to it. So maybe not being there when it goes off.
Yeah, I understand, yeah.
Anyway, hopefully those boys are resting in peace.
Yeah, I feel like they are. Yeah. And I always think it's important, man, to make sure, I name... If I hear about someone on the podcast that's died or lost a mate or whatever, I always want them to mention their name because it's good to carry that memory, you know, and at least someone's fucking heard it. There's a record of it somewhere. Yeah. I'm sure there's plenty out there, but, yeah, I always like to make sure there's a bit there. But, mate, what year was that and how long were you contracting for?
It was 2006 into 07.
Oh,
it's been about...
That's bad old days.
Yeah. It was
especially Sada City.
Yeah, and IEDs, man, and BB IEDs.
Yeah, I remember the truck when the truck bombs would go off and you'd feel it through the ground or...
Yeah, and you'd think it was like, fuck, man, it was only like half a K away. And it turns out it was like 22 Ks away. And you're going, get the fuck out of here. What was that? And then I remember we thought a RPG hit the side of our building And so we stood to, and it was a car bomb fucking 5-6 Ks away.
Fucking hell.
But obviously that shockwave just slapped that side of the building, in some form. So we all stood to, had to pause Seinfeld. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, it's like it's unique. It's like, fuck, what was that?
Yeah.
Even when we got a couple of the closest mortar that ever come to our building was actually not even fired at us in hate. It was a celebratory round when Saddam got fucking necked. So the minute that he, I remember the fucking every fucker shooting in the sky when he got found guilty in court, so he got found guilty and was going to be executed. So fucking everyone's fucking out. So get inside because all these fucking idiots are celebrating with fucking ordnance. Bad idea, fucking idiots. And they and it wasn't even fucking bad because it was like the military commando unit just fucking, yeah, awesome, fucking dunk, let one go. Didn't land fucking that close, but it was enough to go, fucking hell, that's a bit uncool to celebratory mortars, not a good idea.
Yeah, it's not good. So you just did the one stint, did you? The 4-month stint contracting?
No, I went back. I did about 3 rotations. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And then ended up down in New Minear, which is down south. Yeah. So nothing. It was one of those things you got to be in it to win it, And I think a lot of dudes gave it a thought and didn't do it. Now would intensely regret that. You know what I mean? Because it was a very unique period. I don't even know if it's ever going to get replicated. I hope not, because it means you've got to have some pretty significant active wars on for us.
Yeah, there's other bad shit going on. Yeah.
But like you just can't. Like I was going back to what I said before. It's like it's the immersion experience. Just operating in that type of environment. Just you can't replicate it. And then obviously when I went to the feds, when I came back from that. Because I actually rejoined New South Wales Police. I only got back to the TOU for a very short period of time, but during that period, the feds were sort of going, hey, we're standing up this capability, and guys that have got your experience, and everyone else that was doing, that would be an attractive experience aspect that because a lot of the stuff you're going to be doing is overseas, so we need people who are comfortable. Overseas, maybe minimal supervision, minimal capabilities there if shit goes south, that sort of drove me into that. So I resigned again from New South Wales Police, rolled over to the feds.
Yeah. And that's the ORG, right?
It was ORG then,
yeah.
With the International Deployment Group. And when I got employed, I was like once again, you're still in the tactical teams, but was to stand up a full-time sniper capability. They saw the value in it. So, that's what I did for 8 years.
Yeah. I mean, 8 years, man, I want to go through it all, but...
Yeah, no, it's fucking...
Obviously, because I've had Mick Corlett on the podcast. He spoke about that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I actually had to take his episode down. Someone complained about it at his work, and then I think he got out to change units or whatever, and I was like, fucking put it back up. But
Smiling.
Yeah, Rupert. Give me the skinny, man. What's sort of the highlights of the AFP career, particularly overseas stuff? And you were also attached to SOTG in 2012 to the Special Air Service Regiment.
Yeah, in the commandos. Well, I mean, when you say attached with that one, it was Task Force 66, which was you and SASR, right? Then they had a 666 training wing or something that was part of TF 66, for training your partner forces. So, Ausaid or whoever directs where the federal police had a certain cohort go in, to some areas where they were hopefully useful, maybe not. No, well, it's not really their environment, right? Like there's some areas where they can 100% give value, but it's
in a super kinetic environment.
Yeah, let's be real. It's like it's limited. So and then I got they said, well, none of us, like everyone up there, so it's like you're getting from their perspective, you're up embedded with commandos and SASR. But I was embedded in that training wing. And then basically when I was there, had some pretty direct meetings when I first got there about whether I was going to be, they said, we know who you are, and there's people here that are mates with you, so we know, they've done all their due diligence. It was fucking the most hilarious, sit down and fucking put the burners on, let's see what this fucking dude's made of. I loved it, man. It was just like, fuck yeah, bring that shit on. And they asked me a few tough questions and just to see what I was willing to do. And basically I said, I'll do anything you want. Consider this, my role here is to do every fucking shit job that you don't want to do because you're out doing the war fighting. So I'll do the stuff that may not necessarily be, it's going to be an arse pain for you. So if it's training on the base, like breaching, sensitive site exploitation, this is playing up a bit.
Is it? Still good? I can still hear you fine.
Yeah, it's breaking up when I talk. So, just anything that,
All good.
Cool. Anything that makes their life easier. As I said, at the end of the day, you guys are out doing a war fighting. I have to fucking check my ego and just fucking as much as I want to fucking can I come out or do something fucking more in a an area where you could get to test yourself. It's like
a role that you're used to as well.
Yeah, but it's like you got to be sensible and you need to put your fucking ego aside and go. This is someone else's complete operation, and I'm here as a guest in their house, probably a fucking incumbents. So I'm just trying to make myself as useful as possible, which we did, and it's pretty good outcomes there, But at the end of the day, it's inconsequential compared to the guys that were up in that camp. Just fucking epic fucking dudes, man. I loved it. Just because you're around fucking proper fucking dudes, We had boxing, fucking went for hours every Thursday night. It was like, you blokes have been out in operations all day, fucking, do you sure you want to? Oh, fuck yeah, I've been fucking keen to get back here for fucking boxing. And I'm like, man, the psychology of it, it's just fucking outstanding, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, we had a little boxing ring up at Chora where I was. That was good. I had three little fights. I got videos of it somewhere. That was fucking heaps of fun, man.
Well, there was a Navy SEAL who was embedded in there at the time, in the same camp, Cody. I won't say his last name, but...
long hair guy?
Oh, he could have. Yeah, he was blonde. He looked like a surfer. Like a fucking, it's probably a typical fucking SEAL, really. He would have to be the most physically gifted fucking dude I've ever fucking trained with. Like, he could do a box jump fucking to your shoulders, man, like one of those dudes. But he couldn't really box, you know what I mean? Boxing was not, and you're not like boxing if you haven't done it all the time. It's unique. It's not the same as fighting boxing, you know what I mean? Because fighting is excuse whatever, you fucking smash a toaster in someone's face if you need to, but like boxing is, there's moving around as restrictions. So, and anyway, in the background, there's like some of your dudes were fucking giving him fucking after hours shit, trying to fucking, so that when he'd come in here and whoop my ass, I was like going, you motherfuckers, man, this is fucking treasonous.
Oh, so what, you were going to go and step in?
No, I was boxing with him all the time, but they could see that he was, and I was looking after him. And then we were doing other training and shit together as well, because he's a full weapon. But then he goes, man, I asked Big Ben Robert Smith to come and fucking box, and I go, dude, are you fucking serious?
Oh, as in like he wanted to box.
He goes, we'll get him in there too, and I go, because like Ben's a mate, right? But it was like, are you fucking insane? I said, you know, my reach is like 3 inches more than yours. So you can't hit me if I'm just jabbing away. My jab hits your face before your jab hits mine. You know that scenario? Yeah. Well, that's the scenario that I'll be faced with boxing him. So how do you think you're going to go? Because he's going to have 3 inches. He's going to have fucking 8. The fucking dude's a monster. And So yeah, I was trying to put that one to bed. I was like, no, let's keep things sensible.
Yeah. The fucking SAS Victoria Cross winner.
Yeah. But, you know, it was just, like I was saying, the mentality of those dudes is fucking outstanding, man. Like I said, I enjoyed my service there doing that activity. It was really a highlight of my policing career to end up like that officially, you know, side by side with the military, even if you're, you know, probably got the value of the cook. Actually, no, the cook is more important because he's making awesome chow. But, yeah, it wasn't lost on me that potentially my contribution was like it's massive SFO, but sweet fuck all.
Yeah.
It was good.
So how that was, because that was 2012 you were in the game?
Yeah.
Yeah. And how far into your AFP career was that? Because when did you get to
That was my final year. I pulled the pin once I got back. So I was gone early 2013.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because I literally, I didn't. The AFL were up to shenanigans, and they were trying to move everyone that was, working out of Brisbane, down to Canberra and centralise. I'm going, fuck, no way, man, not living down there. I knew Canberra well, but I don't want to live there. It's no good for the family, for what we were doing. So they lost about 80% of their staff in one activity.
Yeah.
By centralising. Everyone, see you later.
Yeah.
So I went over to UAE and sort of did some work in there, embedded in their military with a military manpower provider called Shamal Solutions, Al Shamal Solutions, US owned, It's great around just fuck. The same type of dudes I just left in with your lads and the SAS boys over in Tarankout. So it was just perfect timing, mate. And did 5 years there teaching counter sniping, room combat, pistol, carbine, and kept me busy.
Yeah. And how come you stopped doing that as well?
Oh, I just, 5 years over there, to be honest, I literally came home to get divorced. And then, sort of realised how much I enjoyed living back here in Australia. I love living in the UAE. It's better than here in some ways. Safer, less fuck around. It's a fucking amazing joint.
Yeah. So you were married through all that through your...
Well, they could come with me on that one. So it was they encouraged dudes with families to do that role because they wanted people who were stable, experienced but stable.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, it's
so
like the long term.
You don't want to have single dudes over there getting on the piss and being rampant because that would just be... You have far less issues with dudes that are sort of got their family unit. So yeah, that was a good trip.
Yeah, man. I mean, 5 years is a decent fucking hit out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you get back from that, what year did you get back?
2018, basically.
18. Yeah. Fuck, all right. And then when did you link in with Elliot Gear? Or how as
88.
well?
Oh, it was probably...
88.
So the beginning of 18 back, by about August, September. Only because, we've been doing some gear testing when we're in UAE because obviously their environments over there are so fucked up. So for them, it was a good opportunity to really fast track, development of combat uniforms, body armour systems, whatever it was. So we just send it over and we go, yeah, that worked really well. Nah, that didn't. Give them all the feedback. So it was like a bit of a testing house for them. That's how I got to know them. And then when I got back to Australia, there's man, we know who, seem to know a lot of people. So it makes sense for you to sort of, if you're interested, come work for us. And I like them. They're a good company, almost like a family, large, but the way they ran it, it was really good. So it's that was important to me, from a value point of view. We could have gone and worked at, some of the other, weapons development areas, but it was all of those big, really super big, defence primes were just fuck, man, it would just feel like it's way too corporate and, well, that's a good idea. Let's have 5,000 meetings and then, it happens and you probably wouldn't even know about it because someone else is fucking, take credit for it, whatever, So, yeah, I just didn't feel the affinity to to any of those agencies or those companies. So yeah,
Yeah, nice.
88 it is.
Yeah, sweet. And because you're obviously, John Dixon is the CEO, right? Chris Dixon,
Yeah.
sorry. John Dixon is a Tigmanis not. Yeah, Chris Dixon, you guys are obviously mates. Did you meet him? Is he the one that got you into
Yeah.
ADA?
Yeah,
Oh,
he's the
okay.
one that sort of, tapped on the shoulder. Him and another couple of within his senior management sort of thing. And he's a large reason why I'd worked there too. I'd really, from a leadership perspective, he's a stud. It would have been outstanding if he'd been in any of our, like if you're in the military or police, you've got those people who are natural leaders. He's a good, he knows how to balance, really legitimate leadership traits with empathy and all that sort of stuff as well. So, yeah, he's a good man. I like working there primarily because of him, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%, man. Like, if you got shit culture and shit leadership, what's the fucking point? You know what I mean? I think it's the same with the UAE, right? I think Madman was saying you got two buckets. You got your cash bucket and your shit bucket, which everyone gets full first, sort of thing. So I think it's probably the same working for a company. You know what I mean? Like if there's too much shit, your shit bucket will fill up before your money bucket. So you got to have a fucking good group of people to work with, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, you got plans to stay there long?
Well, you never know. I've been there for 8 years now. If you look at, so it's, but like with anything, if any part of your day-to-day gets a bit stale, that's on you, I reckon. So you just need to shift, focus into certain other areas, so just maybe sometimes staying with the same company, shifting your role a little bit is the best way to sort of, continue moving forward and not getting, because as soon as I get super comfortable, that's when I get unhappy. So you always got a challenge and you're sort of working your way through a knowledge pathway, experience pathway. But once you get comfy and you're really, capable, then it's sort of, this is fucking boring now. You know what I mean? So you need to get, what's the next challenge? The commercial world's full of challenges, so it's been pretty good.
Yeah, man, yeah. I'm the
Not
same.
always good ones. Some of them are fucking asinine, but then again, so are some of ours,
Asinine, I'm fucking using it. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah,
asinine.
Good word, yeah. Unfortunately, I've used it a fucking fair bit last week, so. Abrasive.
Abrasive, good.
Yeah.
Slob's a good word. I've been fucking trying to use that more lately.
My signature word is, you can use it with more than one word, but putrid.
I love
my signature.
putrid. Right.
Putrid.
Yeah, I stole those off what got mates. I think that's pretty common vernacular. Yeah. Samps, mate, we've fucking been talking here on 4 hours, I think.
Sorry about that.
No, it's all right. I'll just fucking delete most of it.
Yeah. Just leave. Oh, it's good to see you again.
Yeah, it'll just be the test of testing 1, 2, 3. Bro, thanks for coming to me, and I want to start introducing on this potty. I'm going to copy this off Matty Morris a little bit. But maybe a couple of questions. So the first one is, what's some advice you would give to either your younger self or someone in your former profession?
Take every opportunity that comes your way, even to learn and grow. I'm talking every training course you can fucking do. If it's even if ones you're looking at go, that'll be as boring as fuck. You don't know where it's going to plug in later. So, if you haven't got anything on, fill that gap with knowledge and expertise, and then because you get used to doing that, that becomes a norm, and then you'll be very surprised, even in it might take 10 years, but you look back and you go, holy fuck, I feel like almost fraudulent with how many courses I've got, on my CV. I'm not saying now, but I'm saying, when you're in those realms. So yeah. Do not look back on your career and go, fuck, I wish I'd done X, Y, Z. Look back and go, I wish I'd done it, but I know I couldn't because I fucking spent every minute fucking making myself a better human.
No, it's good, man.
Yeah.
That's fucking good stuff, dude. And the last one is, what does your service mean to you? How do you reflect on your service?
It's a good question because it's I mean, there's a lot of dudes that bust ass and serve their nation and maybe don't get to employ it to the level, like, what's that fellow we were just talking about over in Nairobi one?
Oh, Christian.
We were
Christian
talking to him,
Craig.
remember? Yeah, we were talking to him over yeah.
Oh,
my
mate.
God, yeah.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah. So, like he's got a, no matter what else he's done in his career, he's got something, if my whole career was just to put me there to do that activity and save all those lives and be a fucking stud in the process, then it makes it all worthwhile. You know what I mean? Even if you know for a dead set fact your whole career culminated in the saving of one person's fucking life, mate, the whole thing is worthwhile. So I suppose, for me, I try to track back and see what value I did. And to be honest with you, it's hard to track value here in Australia because it's a pretty permissive environment, right? So you don't know what influence you've had on people or, from a training perspective or even just like who you are as a human, how you operate. But I know for a fact that some of the people, the third world country training programs I was involved with, primarily like Somalis, is like probably the premier one. Because I know for a fact that the program that we were running there not only shifted the way Al-Shabaab was operating in Somalia, but fucking, mate, it saved a fucking heap of lives of the dudes, the soldiers, especially that we were looking after in the presidential guard. That to me, I think that's had the most, I look to something that gives me value. And I think that some of my the training and skills transfer that I've had the opportunity to do over the years, whether it was Iraqis or the Somalis or whoever else, that was so rewarding because, man, it made an absolute fucking difference to those dudes like 10 weeks later, when they get with us and then they're back into life and death, everyday life and death, and you've given them the tools to stay alive and they have no problem fucking texting me to tell me about their exploits and you know what I mean? It's just, for me, that's, the rest of it's hard to gauge, unless you saved a fucking child from a burning building where you can actually go, yeah, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah,
so the value for me is like contribution. And sometimes people's contribution is just the evolution of the capacity in your unit, So you are still integral to outcomes, still integral to where it is now. You know what I mean? So you can't discredit service just because, some mad fucking event never occurred on your watch. You're still part of it, and your willingness to participate is captured.
Yeah, that's perfect, man. And I think it's got me thinking about one more question, and I think I might introduce this one now. Who were you outside your service?
What, now or during? During, outside?
Now. Post service, who are you? Like, what's your contribution? What's your worth? What's your value? Who are you?
Now I'm a dad, and now I'm filling gaps that I probably, like I was absent for massive chunks of the kids growing up. Nothing, I wasn't gone for years on end, but out of a certain amount of years, I was fucking rarely home. Even when we were doing operations here in Australia, away a lot. So I'm just giving back to the kids, as much as I can. I actually thought once I got to 18, it'd be a lot less hands-on, but it's actually, there's more hands-on once they're out of school, from being a dad than you would ever have expected, you know what I mean? So, I'm just concentrating on that. Try to contribute where you can, back into the fields that we evolved from. Whilst understanding that you need to know you're no longer part of it, but you can still contribute. So where we can.
Yeah.
Things like this, maybe, which hopefully someone goes, fuck yeah, I want to go do that. That's the whole premise of why I jump on a potty, just to go, fuck, we get to get one or two people to not be too scared to jump in and have a crack. Just fucking go and do it.
Perfect answer, man. Well, mate, we'll tap it on the head there. But, dude, thanks so much, man, for fucking spending your time here, missing out on that interview, that dude. Maybe that guy can get another job somewhere else. But Thanks, man. And like I said, when you very rudely texting that guy, this stuff's free, man. Like you take a day off or you spend time doing this. You know, there's like your contribution to this podcast is your time. So, yeah, bro, I massively appreciate it, man. Thanks very much.
My pleasure, man. Thanks, man.
Easy, dude. All right. Catch you later, everybody. See you next time on the Warriors and Wardens podcast. Thanks for listening to that episode. We've got more episodes on the way. In the meantime, check out warriorsandwardens.com for keynote speaking or workshops for operational readiness and longevity in military or first responder teams using emotional well-being and sharing lived experience. I'm your host, Tom Brown. See you next time.